Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of the Immortal Afro podcast. Hello, everyone, I'm your host, Immortal Afro Josh, and welcome to my very first official episode of a Immortal Afro Gaming podcast. I got a few topics I'd like to talk about today. We're going to be just chatting, no gameplay today, because I want to try something new, a little bit different. Make sure you guys can hear me all good. You guys hear me good in the chat? Said it because you got to go fast. Thank you, Clay. Right on time as always. But yeah, so to get things started, we're going to start with the Sony patent that was recently reported on by Niche Gamer. If you guys don't know about that website, I highly recommend you go to it. It's very good. It's where I get... Oh, volume's good? Excellent. Good. Thank you. It's where I get mainly all of my information, really, about all things gaming. And I wanted to talk about this article right here. Sony patents cloud gaming technology, promises elimination of piracy, alternative to consoles. And we all know what this is. We know what it really means. What's up, Cross? Welcome to the stream. You hate different? Yeah, me too, man. I can't stand changes. But yeah, like I talked to my good friend Cross in very deep detail. I might have you on, Cross, if you're not too busy, because you're much more, involved, or you're much more knowledgeable on this topic, and I can definitely use your nomenclature for describing some of the issues that this will inevitably bring up in regards to emulation, the future of gaming, and why I want to develop my own console as an alternative. Because mainstream gaming is going in one direction, and if you love gaming or if you care about the integrity of gaming, you, like many others who have the same opinion or feeling, don't want to have anything to do with it. So, yeah, you're down. Excellent. Meet me in the congregation chat on the Immortal Afro Gaming Discord server, which you can find in the ticker below when it pops up. It's on the time notes. But yeah, I really want to go. I'm gonna read this entire article, go into it in depth. Yes, man, my own console, because I'm going to be learning how to use Linux. Probably need to get a light over here. I think learning how to use Linux, get the ins and outs on, how to operate a program, or know how to develop and program an operating system. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. As well as getting some more information on just, programming and coding in general, because I really love gaming, and I really feel like the gaming as a whole has just been on the shit. It's just going to shit. And I feel like the only real way we can combat it or fix it or do anything that can have any type of positive influence is to take what we understand, what we miss, what we love about gaming from its original inception, and rebuild it from the ground up. Understanding which I knew you were gonna say that, reparations box 360. I'm thinking about using that name, man. It might be good. It might catch a good get some good numbers from the woke folk. But whatever happened to the KFC console jokes? I don't think anyone was taking that thing seriously. All the people talking about that were doing just that, talking about it. All right, but let me hop in the congregation so I can chat with my good friend Cross here in good detail about what's going on. Gaming's first black-owned console. I like that, Lude. I like that. You support my black-owned console, and if you don't buy it, you're a racist. You don't want to be a racist now, do you? Come on, man. Come on, man. Oh, that's good. Here we go. Testing. Cross, can you hear me? All good? Whenever you're ready. Satan forbid. Oh boy.
All right, can you hear me?
Okay, I can now. Put on my headphones.
Okay, you mute your stream. Okay.
Sure, not echoing. But yeah, Cross. I want to go over this article in depth for anyone Who hasn't seen or read it? Read it. Also across. I'm gonna be checking in through chat throughout this, so be patient with me.
Yeah,
Buy
no, you good.
okay. Buy our black-owned console. You dig it? Yeah, man, that's the perfect tagline. Start things off with.
Yeah, if you don't buy our console, well, we know what type of gamer you are.
Yeah.
Our audience.
I'm gonna turn you down just a little bit. Win the red right there. Trying to keep us both in the yellow.
Green. Oh, yellow.
Yeah. All right. So starting off with this article, we have from Niche Gamer by Ryan Pearson. Sony patents cloud gaming technology, promises an elimination of piracy, YARG, alternative to consoles. Now, just off of that alone, what that tells us, or what I think, in my interpretation, is that pretty much everything is going to be like Stadia, Sony's Stadia, Microsoft's Stadia. All gaming is going to pretty much be built with a online distribution service very similar to that of Netflix, gaming Netflix, which I think was like GameFly to some degree, minus the physical game being shipped to your house.
Well, Netflix was like that at the beginning.
Yeah,
That's how Netflix was, and it was, when they decided, man, we should take this to the internet because that'd be more convenient for people instead of having to mail it back. It'd be better for everybody. And
better.
since movies are significantly smaller than in file size, it's easier to transfer stuff too.
Yeah, hold on, loot, loot. Like the whites have to buy it. People of color can loot it for free. Oh yeah, dude. Man, you give me some great ideas, loot. Oh boy. But
You can
yeah,
also you can read into this. When they say the elimination of piracy, uh, another way to read it as is the elimination of ownership,
yeah,
because that's exactly what they're saying. People should have been seeing this coming though from all the way in 2012 when Capcom had the Street Fighter Cross Tekken and the characters on the disc. And when people got mad, their statement was, well, you don't own anything that's actually on that disc.
exactly. Not really. Yeah.
Yeah, so that shows you their intent. Like, malice can only go so far as what they can actually do to you. So just because they hadn't done it in the past, that just means they simply didn't have the ability. As technology and the internet infrastructure increases in America and bandwidth grows, they're definitely going to do it. The only reason why there hasn't been a Netflix for video games is because they can't do it. They
Yeah.
can't do it well enough.
Yeah, because it's not very reliable with internet being spotty in some areas and not so big in others. But we've seen this in a lot of games that have released over the past few years, in the past few generations, really. Most of them, if not all of them, have a strong incentive of needing to be online. For example, games like Spiral, the Reignited trilogy. Because I made a whole stink about that when it came out because the game released with, I believe, well, from what I remember, only the first game was accessible on the disc if you were to buy the physical copy, where you would have to download the second and third games offline. Like, so that meant the game required an internet connection for you to have the whole game. And the same was also said about Back for Blood, which is supposed to be coming out in October, I believe, where it wouldn't work. The offline mode wouldn't work without like a patch from online first, which basically means you got to connect online in order to play the game.
Yep.
And
And,
yeah,
and it's not just that either. The Xbox console is like that too.
yeah. When the whole One first came out, the whole idea was about
Not even just the Xbox One, but the Series X as well. If you buy Series X or Series S, any of the series versions, if you cannot, okay, in order for you to be able to play your games offline, you have to connect to the internet first. Like there's a mode that says you can switch it to offline, but they ask you to connect to the internet for first time setup before you can do anything. So they did exactly what they
Yeah, the last
were going to
console.
do with the last generation. They just didn't say anything about it.
Hmm. And since it's like after a few years of it kind of just being common, people never really brought up a stink about it. Because I didn't
Yeah,
even know that. I was so disconnected from the new consoles, didn't really care about them. That
yeah.
yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing.
No one did until someone who bought one, tried it, and then they were like, "Hey, look!" And then they went to Niche Gamer, and Niche Gamer was like, "We didn't know about this either." So they made and then of course, you have your fanboys that are like, "Well, that's not true. You can see these guys don't know what they're talking about. You could just right here it says switch to offline mode." And then I asked the important question. I said, "Do you have to connect online before you have access to that feature?" Well, you got to do first time setup. It's like, okay,
Answer the question.
and then you already know the answer. But thank you for being honest.
Yeah, without telling me.
Yeah, it's like so that console's like that too. The only two consoles where you can buy the console, never connect to the internet, and play the games is the Switch and the PlayStation 5.
Well, for now, whatever the
For now,
following console is going to be after, since Sony patented, I think it says in this article, it's a really interesting switch from what the sentiment was from Sony back in the beginning of last year. With the jab at Microsoft saying, "Yeah, you could just share your games by giving it to your friend and it'll work." You know,
yeah,
pretty good marketing scheme
yeah.
that sold away that I pretty much contributed to the Sony kicking the shit out of Microsoft.
For an entire generation.
Yeah. So it's funny to see how that's reversed, but I mean, we all kind of knew that was going to be the case eventually because the thing about games constantly needed to be online is cheaper for the developer or the publisher rather, and you don't own it. You can't do anything to the game. And what's that saying? You'll own nothing and you'll like it,
Yeah,
which is it's been a push to end use games forever.
yeah,
And so, again, nothing new, but since we've kind of gotten to this point, I just really don't see the point in trying to, save gaming by, constantly, coming up, making a stink about it, making videos about it, oh, wow, rage about this. Guys, let's gather together and complain. I'm like, look, just fucking leave Sony and Microsoft behind. It's over. the the only logical, reasonable option I see that is viable on any level is to just restart the entire industry from scratch and build it up as a subculture. Because gaming now is just it's worthless. If this is gaming, then I'm good. I don't care. These new consoles have zero appeal for me because it's there's nothing there, And I feel like a lot of most of the mainstream, the masses that are just gonna follow Sony and Microsoft wherever they go, no matter what they do, it's a good thing because while they're over there getting fucked in the ass, uh, us who care about the core of gaming itself, owning your games, enjoying your games whenever you want, not having to tie them to some type of online service in order to work. That's to me that's the future. And the only way to get that is if people just pull together and just do it within their own little circle, making it completely niche gaming.
yeah. Like yeah, you're definitely correct about that. At least that's what I agree with. The problem with trying to save the industry or fight for the industry is that there's a large number of okay, let me say it like this. The amount of people that are actually advocating and pushing for this is actually relatively small. And then there's a bunch of people who are just going to go along with the flow because they think they can't stop it. And
Mhm.
then there's a lot of people who don't know anything and they just go along with the flow because they have no sense of direction.
Not
All of
even that
these
they don't
people are
care.
against you, though. They're all against you. I just named three groups, and just one of these groups on their own is bigger than you. But three of them combined together, when they have the combined power of all three with one leader, you can't fight that. The industry is going to go in a direction that it's going to go in because it's going to continue to be supported in that direction. You may be able to raise a stink or two about one game like The Last of Us 2, but it's clear that they're not going to change based on that. It doesn't matter if they fail; they'll continue to move forward because they control the mainstream industry. So they don't care about one loss or whatever.
Yeah, like you said
Um,
before, failing upwards. So
yeah,
nothing
exactly.
changes.
Yeah, nothing changes. What you have to do is create a real, like you have to, the real way to stop them is that their power is in the numbers that they have. So the real way you stop them is by really not competing with them. You have to
Yeah.
make your own thing over here and build up a completely new audience. And what's going to happen is those people with no direction, over time, slowly, they will fall off or they'll join your side, because they have no direction. They're just going whatever makes them feel good. And naturally, our stuff is going to win at when put side by side, because when put side by side, it's clear everyone agrees with saying, but their actions are probably going to be different. So
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, we just have to build up a completely new thing on the side, and slowly it'll build up and become bigger as long as we keep putting time and effort into it.
Yeah.
Um, so
I think a good example that you know about is Comics Game.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
because we were talking about it the other day about how this issue is extremely prevalent in the comic book industry, and it pretty much already came to a head, a tipping point, and now over there, since comics are so bad, the uh, the alternative that was created by, I believe you said, your boy Zach and Ethan Van Sciver, or
Yeah, yeah. I mean, your boy Zach was the first. Yeah,
yeah, and so like they created a an alternative, which was known as Comicsgate. Feel free to correct me at any point because like I don't really read comics like that, but I do want to get a little bit more familiar with the story of how Comicsgate came to be because
yeah.
I
Like long story short,
mm,
uh, your boy Zach was just a comic critic, like a lot of comic book critics. But he was specifically criticizing, and put reason behind why the comic books were bad. He wasn't just saying this comic book sucks. He was saying this comic book sucks because this ideology from this person and these people here, 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 and here. And he would go to their Twitter and say, "Look how they talk about you. They hate you. They're purposely making these books bad on purpose, like to piss you off, and you keep buying them because we don't have a choice.
yeah,
We don't have an alternative." So the goal first was stop buying the books and they'll change. But once people found out that they weren't going to change and they will sink an entire company, it, the, it doesn't matter. They'll sink a company and still produce and make the same choices because they don't get any personal consequences. Yeah, the company loses money, but they still get hired. They still get to work on books, even if
mm-hmm.
it is for pennies. They still have jobs, so they'll continue to do it. So once people realized that, people kind of was like, well, this sucks. I'm just done. So people were done, and there's this large pool of people who want to buy comics, but they can't anymore. So then your boy Zach wanted to be in the comic book industry, but he knew he wasn't going to be able to because they hate him, right?
Yeah,
And there was two things that happened when they pulled up a comic he did in the past, which was his Jawbreakers Volume One. And they say, "Oh, look at what! Oh, yeah, this is the guy that's criticizing us, guys. Look how shitty this book is, you know." And it was amateurish because he was not a comic book. His writing was actually good, but his art sucked. And you could just look at the art and say, "Oh, okay, like he must not be that great," you know. But they were like, "Oh, why don't you actually make something, put it on the shelves, and then you can criticize us?" So they said, why don't you actually put up or shut up? So
yeah,
he was like, I will then.
It's a good idea.
So yeah, he said, okay, then I will. And so he knew people within the industry that agreed with him already and convinced them to jump, which was John Malin. And so he said, okay, well, John, me and you and Brett, we're going to make a book. And they made a Jawbreakers book and tried to get it published through stores the traditional way. But when that happened, Mark Wade tortuously interfered and convinced Antarctic Press to drop the book. So I'm sorry, we can't support your book anymore because we're going to get canceled, essentially.
Yeah.
So they said, okay, that's fine. We'll just crowdfund our book on Indiegogo then. So there was no crowdfunding, like there was no Comicscape the way we think of it now, where there's a bunch of books on Indiegogo and all that stuff. None of that existed. It was just they said, okay, well, we'll just go on Kickstarter. They tried to go on Kickstarter first, and then they got kicked off there. It was like, oh no, you can't crowdfund your book here. You guys are bigots. Okay, so then they went to Indiegogo. Indiegogo was like, you know, it's okay. You can have your book here. And because of all of that drama, they raised like $400,000 for this book. And the book was so it wasn't like Josh. This book, Jawbreakers Lost Soul, it's a decent book. It's not the greatest comic book I've read in my life, but compared to modern day comic books, it's a fucking golden fucking like ingot. Compared to the dog shit you were getting from Marvel and DC, it was like incredible how much better it was and how much obviously better. And that was it. That large pool was convinced from then on. So then every other person that was on the fence, like they agreed with Comicscape, but weren't sure if they should jump in. They just started jumping in one by one. EVS jumped in. Billy Tucci jumped in. Doug Tenable jumped in. All these people started jumping in. All these professionals started jumping in from the industry, saying, "Fuck the industry, I'm gonna do me."
Sound like a
Yeah.
Xbox 360 commercial. Just jump in.
Yep. Like that's like long story long, I guess, on
Yeah,
how
thanks.
on how it happened, and
Yeah.
you know, something like that hasn't it. We had that moment, but we blew it in the past because the people who were in charge didn't actually care. See, your boy Zach fucking cared. Like he actually cared. Like he actually does care about comic books. He actually does care about all that stuff, you
Yeah.
know. But it's like where the people with Gamergate, there's only one I was convinced that cared. Like out of those, like let's just say the leaders, right?
Yeah.
It was fucking Medica.
Yeah.
Everybody else, they were in it for themselves. They were in it to grow their YouTube channel. They say they like video games, but they never really talk about games. They don't know shit about video games. They say they're making their own game, but really it's just a way for them to earn extra money on their Patreon and not do anything.
Yeah.
It was
'Cause
just
it was a
like
hot topic to jump
it
on.
was a hot topic to jump on, and they could rally behind it and all this type of stuff. And it was just
Yeah.
like we had that moment. We had all the moments, and technically they're still there, and they're probably worse. They probably have gotten worse since then. We.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Especially given the direction gaming has and is going. Another person that carried that you may not know about is Event Status. I remember Event Status. I haven't seen him in a while. But,
yeah,
so pretty much, hopefully, there's something that we can still salvage. I still think it's possible. I don't think it's like this is something you can like miss an opportunity for because
no,
gaming is so.
I think you're right. I think it's something you can because it's still there. As long as
Yeah.
people are still being harmed by it, and
Hmm.
the situation still sucks, and
And
you
it
can
does suck.
still, yeah, it's gotten worse. Like
Mhm.
you can still do something about it. It's just that like that was really a time to do it,
Yeah.
and the
Ah.
only person who really took advantage of it was Niche Gamer because
Mm.
we were like, we really need an independent news website that isn't influenced by the mainstream industry that will give us fair and honest news and give us real updates on games that won't be covered by the mainstream industry. And niche game, you know when niche gamer was started? In 2014.
Yeah,
In
right when all this
2014,
shit was
right.
at
They
its peak.
immediately took action. They said, okay, we're going to do it. And so like they're like they're a representative for what we're believing.
Mhm.
But it's like when it comes to the actual production of video games, they're just one stone, but you still need video games and you need, like you said, a video game console. I feel like when you have that part, you can start really saying you have the infrastructure for an industry.
Yeah, just a lot of things that need to go into it financially, manpower, so on and so forth. You know, the games, exclusive IPs only on your console, and
Right.
as well as third parties should the opportunity arrive.
Yep.
Because like the idea I have for creating a console, like it varies long and short. So I'm just kind of like whatever idea I think is interesting, I just kind of write it down and keep it over to the side. Because I think I might be thinking too far in the end game, but I have to wait and see. Because there's a lot of stuff I need to learn. However,
Yeah.
I hope just talking about that aspect, that idea, will be enough to generate enough interest for from gamers who are obviously disenfranchised with all that's going on. And I know there are plenty of them. It's just that how many of them care enough to where they would be like, you know what, this is over. Because like you said, you see a lot of people saying things like it's calming down here. Oh, then I'll just not buy anything else and play old stuff. Okay, you say that, but when the case of FOMO comes around, like how long will it take you to crack? you know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
like there's always going to be a new game, God of War. Because Sony got a billion IPs that
Yeah,
was.
and I don't think it's like all like that's the one thing I will say. Like of course, I don't think anyone's really saying the entire industry like 100% is destroyed, but there comes a point of like what we call there's a term for it when essentially the vast majority of it, not the vast majority of it, but it's more like it's hit a critical point of no return.
Mhm.
Like it may not be completely destroyed yet, but it's at a point to where to stop the inertia, I mean, to stop like the momentum that it has, would take such a great effort to do that you might as well make something new
Yeah.
with that same amount of effort instead of trying to like uh salvage this.
Yeah, because I like as much thinking on it that I've done, I just don't see the point. Because like you said before, like you have all these groups, and they, despite them all being different groups, they kind of have the same soul mentality when it comes to like gaming. And only a very small portion is going to want to do something crazy like start over here because like you said it takes effort and most people
A large effort.
yeah and most people aren't willing to put in the smallest amount because it requires effort. And I'm like, dude, I could just, I mean, when you think about it, Netflix gaming doesn't really sound that bad, even though Google Stadia flopped in
Well,
like the most fantastic way.
that's the thing. It's like people there's like this I mean maybe it's always been around, but I'm not really that old. So it's just kind of
Happy
like,
birthday, by the
yeah,
way.
thanks.
old fuck.
But there's definitely a thing of like people saying things because it's the thing to say now. It's
yeah,
like people believing things because it's the thing to believe now, but their actions show who they are. And so you can't really trust what a lot of people say anymore. You have to kind of look at what they do,
yeah,
and that is a better indicator because some people say things just to protect themselves from uh
being put on the spot, having
yeah,
to
being put on the
explain
spot
themselves.
or judged. Yes, exactly. So they'll say things just to protect themselves, either instinctually or methodically. You
Yeah,
know.
because the average
Um,
person isn't going to have the like the effort or interest to like most people will engage, but like you said, when you have to defend yourself or your position or come back with a statement that actually has to be well thought out and just not some shit you heard from over here, most people aren't going to do
yeah.
that. That's why it's like
Yeah.
just roll with the masses because it's easier and it's safer.
Yep. And so like when it comes to something if like when this like Netflix for gaming, let's just call it, becomes the norm, people will go along with it and say they don't like it. But they'll say, "Yeah, this sucks. I remember a time when gaming was so awesome and great."
I
But
remember the good old
they
days.
yeah, but they will have an active Stadia account. They will have hours in games. They'll have active all the stuff. There'll be multiple different subscriptions. It won't just be one. It'll be like Stadia, Sony, whatever the fuck,
Microsoft, all
Microsoft,
this
whatever
shit,
the
and it's
fuck.
it's just gonna be
Yeah.
like how you remember when streaming was supposed to be a better, cheaper alternative to cable, only to find out you have to purchase like 8 different streaming services to get everything. So you're
Uh-huh.
spending just as much, if not more, to get the
Yep.
same
And then
shit.
you don't even have access to all the things you like. You may say, "Oh man, you know what? I don't even really need HBO Plus and Disney Plus and Plus Plus and Showtime Plus and I don't need all this stuff. I just need, Netflix because there's this one old show that I really like. It's called SpongeBob SquarePants, and as long as they just keep SpongeBob SquarePants on there,
I'm
I'm
good.
good." And then they're like, SpongeBob SquarePants is
It's
gone. And
good.
you know what the
Yeah.
fucked up part is? It won't even be actually gone. If you put
Yeah.
on a VPN,
It'll be in a
you'll
different
be able
region.
to access. Yes. So it's like
uh,
not there that they control and curate what content you're allowed to watch. And that's the biggest thing that when I talk to people, like every time I've talked to people and they're like, "Oh, they'll say something. I may be talking about a show or something I like or something, and they're like, "Oh, what you watching that on? You watch it on Netflix? You watched it on Hulu Plus? You watched it on whatever?" And I'm like,
Peacock
"Nah,
Plus.
I don't subscribe to subscription services. Why not?" And it's just like there's a million reasons that go in my head when they ask me that question, and I don't know how to respond because if I say I don't like content being curated to me,
You got that's when
it's like
you
their brain turns off, and then
like
they're
stop
like, "What
there.
does that even mean?" And it's just like, here we fucking go. I don't feel like having an intellectual discussion with you. Like you asked why, and I'm telling you why, and that's the reason why.
But you
So
don't
it's like
actually want to know.
yeah, I just tell people that I'm a fucking pirate. Like I'm just a
Yar.
pirate, dude. I like pirating. I don't like paying money because it's so much easier for people to understand that
Mm.
then I don't like people. I don't like the only content that I'm able to watch is shit that people show to me.
Yeah.
I like finding things that I like to watch. Oh, that's cool. Oh, I don't like that. Nope, I won't watch that. I don't like things being shoved in my fucking face. Oh, well,
Like ads
everybody's
on,
watching Dexter.
yeah, like
It's
ads on
like,
YouTube or something. And I like
yeah,
how TV like YouTube has become, because
yeah, it is. It's becoming more and more like it. The only difference is that you can still install ad block and
yeah,
block ads.
for now,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
telling
for
you how
now.
long that shit's gonna last.
Oh
Because
yeah.
like I remembered like dude like I was about to have a conniption fit last night because you remember how like we talked a long time ago about how like certain things are conditioning your behavior when it comes to apps and whatnot, and like
Yes.
ads piss me off so much, and it still pisses me off that I still have the YouTube app on my phone because like when I get off my computer I'm like, oh okay, enough of that, let me go over here, and then as soon as I turn on YouTube, because like some videos play ads and some don't. And sometimes I'm tricked into thinking that, like, oh, yeah, of course I won't see ads. I got an ad blocker on my computer. And then when I run into a video with an ad, and then the video buffers, ad plays flawlessly. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then when the ad starts buffering, I'm like, I am about to commit murder. Because I know
Yeah.
better. I know better than that, but here I am, looking like a dumbass, watching
Yeah, that's
YouTube
why
on my phone. And,
exactly. That's why I don't watch YouTube on my phone.
yeah,
Because I'm like, yeah, there's no way to escape this. Cool, then I just won't deal with it. I'll deal with it
yeah.
when I get home. Because I have control over my situation. The only time I watch YouTube on my phone is when I must. Like I'm out somewhere and I have to show someone that's on YouTube. But you know what I do? Well, you know what I did when we were in your car. I put that shit on times 2 speed,
Yeah.
and I skip over fucking ads. I'll say, oh, that's where the yellow line is, because a certain amount of time in the video has to have passed for that ad to be able to play. So if you put that shit on times 2 speed and then skip through certain shit, some ads won't even fucking play.
That's a pretty good strat. At first, I thought you were doing it just because you knew about the context of the video. I didn't know that shit
That,
skipped
but
ahead.
also people speak. It serves a double purpose. That is one of the reasons. But the other reason is that people purposely make their videos to maximize on ad revenue.
Yeah,
So
retention
because
time.
of that, right, they speak slowly and they beat around the fucking bush and they're wasting my fucking time. So I'm gonna shorten their video from 15 minutes to 7 minutes. Fuck you. Nah, we're gonna shorten this to 7 minutes by putting this on time 2 speed. I don't need to. I don't need to hear this at regular speed. I can listen to this at time 2 speed and understand everything you just said. Some people they purposely do that. Oh, this video has to be 15 minutes so that they can get the algorithm. And I don't give a fuck about any of that. Like, that's your problem, not mine. So, yeah.
Y'all matey. Oh, so Young
Yeah.
Sykes. Yo, Fiddle D, do what you want because I'm a pirate, so free come along and sail with me. You are a pirate. Yeah, I just found out that's the song. I was like, hold on a minute. I'm reading it wrong. But
You are, 'cause I'm pirate, it's free.
you are a pirate.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Good song. But but in regards to gaming, Netflix style gaming coming soon to probably not even a console. It's probably gonna be like that. I forgot what it was called, but it was something else like Stadia. I remember Linus covered
There's a
it.
bunch of stuff like that. Back in the day, it was called On Live. That was the first time anybody ever tried it. It was called On Live. I remember it. It was back in like 2005, probably 6 or 7. That was the first time the concept had I seen crystallized and tried was On Live. And I remember even as a fucking kid, I thought that was a dumb idea. Because I thought to myself, wait a minute, I gotta pay you money so I can have access to a game that I don't have? Why am I paying you then? I don't get to own the game. I just get to play it. And that I wasn't even thinking about the lag or the fact that I'm on dial-up or any of that shit. I wasn't thinking about any of that. The only thing that went in my head is that I gotta pay money so that I don't own the game, just so I can play it. But I can play games for free by just going over someone's house.
Yeah.
Or by just playing a demo.
But not anymore. Not anymore. COVID. Better not leave the house. It's dangerous out there. You be spreading. You spreading the fuck. No, it's over. It's funny how of all the things to kind of take off was the one thing that most gamers didn't really too much care about. As far as how to get our games, it was mostly, and that's another thing I talked about during the whole Spiral thing, was that look, man, if online only gaming can meet or exceed the expectations set by physical gaming, they never can. But just to throw the question out there, if you guys can do that, I would fold because it makes sense because I like it as an option. The problem is that this isn't an option. This is just the way it's going to be, especially with how many games are required, optional, right? Required to be online in order to work, just on a basic level. And that's why I keep citing 6th gen as the peak of gaming. Of course, there's the beginning of 7th gen, but it changed halfway through. So if I wanted to, I just use 6th gen as a complete, the complete package.
Right. I think 6th gen is it's an easier one to say because when you say the peak of, if you say the beginning of 7th gen, then people say, then what? When you're like, for me,
thank you, Deadback Cat, for the host. Appreciate it, my man. Deadback Cat hosted the stream. Appreciate it, my man. But go ahead.
Yeah, the the peak, like, yeah, it definitely is like the beginning of 7th gen, but it's just like it's hard to quantify exactly when. For me, I would say that it started to go downhill at 2010. I think 2010 is the year when you can physically see the like where the direction it's gonna go. Some people I remember telling me as early as 2008
Yeah.
because when EA was buying all of those games, I specifically remember being in the BioWare forums and people were saying this is a bad move.
Hmm.
EA is garbage and they're going to ruin the industry and they're going to ruin all these franchises. And I remember disagreeing with him because I was like, these guys don't have any money and it's going to be cool that they're going to have more money. I was young and fucking stupid. I was like 14 or 13 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was arguing with this guy who apparently knew what the fuck he was talking about because that happened. And so he could see it because he had more experience than I did. But I think that anybody could have seen it
Yeah, that
in
was
the year
paying attention.
2010. So I think before 2010 is probably there. We could probably argue maybe it was not 2010, it was 2008 or something. But
Mm.
like, you know, I think that 7th gen started in 2005. So I would probably say like the golden years of 7th gen were probably between 2005 and 2007. You
Yeah.
know, like those years are probably really great.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, minus the Red Ring fiasco. But other than
yeah, yeah, the console
that.
was a cheap piece of garbage, but like the thing is that's what's so funny about it. It's like the Xbox 360 was a cheap piece of trash, but I would honestly rather deal with the Xbox 360 fiasco and scenario than the way gaming is now. Because if
Oh
my
yeah.
Xbox is the red ring of death, I just send it to Microsoft and they give me a new one. And I'm like, well, when this one dies, I'm gonna get another one again. It's like,
In the
it's
meantime,
like,
I'm gonna be like playing my ass off and having fun. And I
right,
can deal
like
with
I'm
like a
not
2 week
worried about
wait.
anything else.
Yeah, I should play something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, also I wanted to touch on emulation. You know,
Oh, okay.
like as far as like emulating games and what this means for emulation as a whole. Because the last time we talked, you said this is pretty much like a precursor to the end of you know reliable emulation when it comes down to companies finally having complete digital ownership of the games that they sell.
That they should already have ownership of. Right.
They
So,
should.
like, essentially, think about it like this. Like, I'm gonna lay it out for you, so that anybody can really understand it.
Mhm.
Okay. So going back to what I was talking about with Netflix, right? Like Netflix started off as a all physical medium. You mail in, they send you, you know, the disc, and then you send it back to them, right?
Yeah.
But that's inconvenient for both sides. Both the guy who has to send it at a certain time, make sure the mailman gets it, all this shit. And it's
Mhm.
inconvenient for the person that has to receive it back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they have to make sure the disc is actually kept up at a certain quality because it has to be lent out to somebody else, etc., etc. Right?
Mhm.
So with faster internet speeds, they can offer online variant to that, and they could do it quickly because the file size of these movies were small
Yeah.
comparatively to video games, which were much larger,
Mhm.
right? On average.
Yeah, I think most
Uh,
most PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube games were like over a gig and a half of
right,
data.
and you have to stream gameplay. So it isn't just the contents of the disc; it's that, but you also have to stream all the gameplay and the inputs, and they have to be done in real time.
Yeah.
That's way more data, right? All right. So that's the thing. So when it comes to something like that, you say, okay, cool. Now Netflix and stuff is the standard and all that. As internet
Mhm.
speeds grow, see the mistake that Stadia made is they tried to do this with mainstream gaming, which these games are ginormous.
Too big. Call of Duty is Warzone or whatever. It's like over 200 gigabytes now. And like, how the fuck
Right.
do you stream? any of that if you don't have
Right.
super duper South Korean gigabit internet or some
Right.
shit.
But imagine if they were streaming third generation games,
Oh yeah, flawless.
fourth generation. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
Because that's where emulation is gonna die.
Because those games now, in comparison to like the speeds
You
we
can
can get.
stream the right. You can stream those much more easier than a game that releases today. So I think that they haven't reached that reasoning. I don't think just yet. They're still thinking we gotta stream the mainstream stuff. But there's gonna come a point in where people are saying, I'm done with this. I'm just gonna buy old consoles and buy old games and emulate. And the first thing they're going to go after is emulation because they're going to see such a large amount of people just emulating, and they're going to cut that shit off at the knees by saying, okay, let's get all these ROMs from all, we're going to system to cease all these places that has all these ROMs, and we're going to get them all first. Secondly, we're not going to allow you to own these ROMs ever again by having you download the game and have it on your system so that you can put it back out there.
Yeah.
No, we're going to make a service called uh, the PlayStation
PlayStation Flicks.
yeah, PlayStation Flicks. And you're gonna subscribe to PlayStation Flicks, and you're gonna be able to play all your old classic games. And they're not just gonna put them all up there, and it's gonna be just like Netflix. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I can't wait to go play Fear Effect, and then it's gone.
Not available in
Why?
your region.
It's not able in your region. Oh, your favorite game? Oh, they're gonna edit the files because they don't like what this character said in this game to this person.
Yep, it's not going to be the same game you played years ago. You know that cutscene in Dino Crisis where the character she's like, "I don't give a shit." They're gonna edit that part out, and she's like, "I am a strong, powerful woman who don't need no man," and you're gonna be like, "Oh, fuck,
or they're just gonna cut out certain
no."
scenes. They're gonna blur like, oh, your favorite upskirt in that one fucking game? Oh yeah, gone.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so like
Because now the problems that we have with the newer games are going to be influenced in the older games, and the old game you remember that you used to have access to will be gone forever.
yeah.
And the only way you could have had it is if you were like a stingy yarg matey fuck, and now
Today.
today,
Yeah,
and yeah, that'd be the only way to have it.
before they care about it. Right now, because I'm telling you, they follow the majority. They follow those like the I don't know, I don't have a name for them, but let's just call them the fish of the mainstream.
Hmm.
They follow them. They're like sharks.
You're
You
talking about
know?
Ashley's upskirt in Resident Evil 4. Oh no.
Yep. So you got to think of these guys like sharks, right?
Hmm.
They're not. These sharks aren't gonna follow us, who are just one, two, or three little fishes out here. They don't give a fuck about us. They give a fuck about the school of fish going in the giant mainstream, and they say we want them,
Yeah,
right?
because I could take
But
one bite and get like 80 of them at
right,
once.
exactly. However, if all of a sudden, due to whatever the fuck we're doing, we find better waters, and we say these waters are good, it's comfortable, there ain't no sharks over here trying to eat us, and when they do, we can easily evade them. It's harder for them to catch us.
Yeah.
They ain't shit, right? So they're not gonna waste their time until the mainstream starts to come in our direction.
Hmm.
So you have to always be looking in the directions that the mainstream is not looking in because there's value there, untapped value. And you have to invest in that stuff before the mainstream finds out because if they find out, they're going to start trying to invest in it, and these sharks aren't going to allow it. They're going to get to it because they have more power. They are willing to apply more effort, and so it's just they're gonna get it. And when they do, they're going to restrict everybody who wants it. So then people are going to run to real consoles and real cartridges of games and stuff like that, and that's going to be much more difficult for them to do anything about.
Yeah, that's why they're trying to kill used games now. Because
Right.
if you kill it now, every game requires an internet connection to work. Even if there are a bunch of used, or physical games out there, they're not really physical. Because I remember Fallout 76. you could buy it at GameStop, but all you'll be getting is like the case with the code inside.
Yeah, I saw that.
That
I went to
was
GameStop once and I just saw it was like a fucking card on a goddamn like a cardboard
disc.
card on a fucking shelf, and it just says Fallout 76. I said I have more respect for myself than those fuckers.
Yeah, because I remember there was this video going around with this dude bought the game, and I don't know if he was coming back. Oh yeah, he did come back because he bought the game. He had a case and everything.
Oh, right.
He left. It was like, oh boy, I'm about to go play. He opened that shit up. It was like a card, and then it was like, a jackass. And then went back up to GameStop and was like, yo, what the fuck, man? Where's my game? Like, oh, it's on the card. You just punch in the code and you download the game. It's like, yeah, but I thought it was a disc in there. Like, nope. You played yourself. Now you back up here looking like a fool. Because you really thought this game was going to be on this MMO Fallout, so to speak. Or whatever, however they were trying to market it back then. And that shit was hilarious. I couldn't help but laugh. Because I was like, wow. 5 times the detail of Fallout 4. 0 times the actual game of Fallout. Thank you, Caveman Jay, for following. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Join the Immortal Army. Say what?
I said people get what they deserve, man. Like,
Well, yeah.
I have no sympathy for people who
Mainstream fish.
like yeah, exactly. I have no sympathy for them because it's like you have a working brain just like everybody else, and you decide not to use it. Now, look, there are definitely things within the game. Within game, it ain't like all of gaming completely sucks. There are no good games out there. Of course not. Like there are games being made today that are great. But my biggest problem is that like there are people who say, man, gaming, it sucks, blah 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 blah. I wish somebody would make this, and why can't gaming be like that? And then there are games out there that are all these things,
and they just don't.
They don't do anything about it. And if they didn't know anything about it, that's one thing. But I've been around long enough to know that there are always one real ass gamer in any group of gamers. And that one real ass gamer at one point decided to share his knowledge with these fucking people, and he was likely rejected.
Yep.
Or ignored. And that's why I'm like, okay, I have no sympathy. I have zero because it's like
because you do have access. You do have access.
You do, but you're a lazy fuck that wants
to be curated.
Yeah. So it's like, so you get what you fucking deserve.
Yeah, the old Joker treatment,
Yep.
which is fine. Because like I said, like when it comes to creating a new subculture in gaming, you don't want these people in because they suck. They're going to bring all the poor decision making, lack of skills and effort and desire into your community, and slowly try to transform it into the very thing that they complain about for a living. And it's like, when it comes to one of my favorite words recently. It's not vetting. Yes, there it is. Gatekeeping. The power of gatekeeping. Because I remember a long time ago they used to be a bad word, but over time it just goes to show just how detrimental things like inclusivity and fucking what's the other word? Fucking user for fight accessibility when it comes to gaming. Because like gaming is for everyone. I disagree. Gaming is not for everyone because everyone's not a gamer, and it makes no sense to turn this ecosystem, this community, into something for everyone when it has never been for everyone. It's only been for the people who gave enough of a shit to grow it. Back when back in early 6th gen and late 5th gen, it's like the only people who knew about Spyro the Dragon were Spyro player platformers. People who knew about Crash Bandicoot. There were people who liked those types of games, and those were the only people who played those games, with the exception of maybe a few others who were like, oh, okay, this game was whatever. And then you have the rise of the military shooters like Rainbow Six and SOCOM. And even because even before, like I said in my last stream, how there were so many war games, but they were all so uniquely different, and they never not there wasn't one game of the same genre that was similar to another. Like Call of Duty was Call of Duty back then. SOCOM was SOCOM. Rainbow Six, Rainbow Six. All of them were military shooters. None of them are anything alike. And now with games having this code that they all unanimously follow because of can't think of the right way to do the proper way to do things. It's that now most of these games are very samey, and everything is kind of streamlined. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
All games are being streamlined to play a certain kind of way. That's why there are so many
Yeah,
duds.
they'll use soft terms like accessibility, streamline. What's the other one? It's called not what is it called? Quality of life. Things like that. Essentially, they're watering your game down or making things easier
To
to make it
appeal
more accessible
to the masses.
to the masses. And it's like they're like, well, we can get more people to play our game if we just make it easier, which is definitely not. It's not right, but it's not wrong. It's like you can get more people by abandoning your fan base because maybe the other fan base is bigger. Sure,
Yeah,
but that's not always guaranteed, and especially not in a situation where you're talking about the longevity of a series. Like,
yeah.
yeah, sure, maybe for that one game,
For
but
this
like
amount of time, but
yeah, for
compared
this
to
amount of time,
what you would have grown if you had just fostered and cultivated it this way. Because a
yeah,
lot of games from uh, fifth gen have survived for so long. Like like Tekken, born on PlayStation One, still alive and kicking on PlayStation 4. And it's like, wow, this game has survived for so long, and it hardly changed after Tekken 5. It's like, first Tekken 1 was like, oh, okay, here's the first attempt. Tekken 2, like, slightly refined first attempt. Tekken 3, a little more refined attempt of Tekken 2. Tekken 4, we ripping out the OA, don't like that. Tekken 5, we finally found the formula. We have found the goal. And it went from there. And it was the same way with Dead or Alive until Dead or Alive deviated by getting rid
Dead
of
or
the guy.
Alive was Dead or Alive did it way faster though. Dead or Alive one was like, okay, this is Virtua Fighter, and then Dead or Alive two was like, holy shit, this is Dead or Alive.
Yeah.
Like it was something completely brand new and fresh and awesome. It was like the second game they got it, and
Mhm.
like I guess other games probably were like that too. Soul Calibur found its identity pretty fast. I
Yeah,
mean,
Soul Calibur 2. Wasn't it
well,
Soul
Soul Calibur
Calibur?
one,
Yeah,
yeah, it was
because it
Soul
was Soul
Calibur,
Blade, then Soul Calibur.
right? So it's like it kind of took Tekken a while because Tekken was trying to do something different than Virtual Fighter. They're trying to
Mhm.
come up with a completely different system than how Virtual Fighter works, so it took them longer. Whereas like and Soul Calibur was kind of born from the discoveries they found in Tekken. It was like, oh, this is how movement should be working in the 3D game. This is how, a crush system should work. And Soul
Yeah,
Calibur benefited from the knowledge of Tekken's growth. So that's how I was
yeah.
able to evolve so quickly. You
hmm
know,
Which makes
and I guess
sense. Because it's
yeah, it makes
a
sense.
lot of games were kind of like that. I think Resident Evil was like that. Wasn't Devil May Cry born from some of the experiences that the team had with Resident Evil when it came to like glitching certain aspects of the player's ability to move around. That's how they got the
Yeah.
jump mechanic in Devil May Cry. And they're like, hey, we can make a completely new cool game off of this, and that was interesting. Like that was a very cool aspect of gaming back then because like certain limitations gave birth to new gameplay experiences, which again created long lasting franchises that hardly ever changed from the initial concept.
Yeah, see, but all the stuff you're talking about is from Japan.
Yeah, that's it.
So in Japan, that's what they do because they understand success. They understand all the things we're talking about. Um, And it's not that it sucks, but it's
What's up, strategist 418? Welcome to the stream.
the the largest successes that came from like not all the large successes, but some of the large successes that happened during the seventh generation wouldn't have even been around if Japan didn't exist. If Resident Evil 4 was never made, there's no Dead Space, there's no Mass Effect, at least not in the
Gears.
way that they play. There's no Dead Space, there's no Mass Effect, there's no Gears of War, there's no Uncharted, there's no third person over the shoulder shooting mechanics in the way that we know them as. The only game that still would have been around is Call of Duty.
Yeah, because that was the first person shoot.
Yeah, it was
The
first
first
person
person
shooter,
shoot.
and you know Americans are good at making first person shooters, so they get that. But third person, all of that was born from Resident Evil 4, and it's like again Japan. So like Japan gaming now is still solid when it comes to, let's say, Japanese. What comes from Japanese? It's good. It's not as great as it used to be, but if you like video games, it's definitely still good.
Yeah.
That's why like it's much more difficult to kind of convince people that gaming is completely trash and stuff because it's not like it's completely trash in one direction.
Yeah.
You can just go in a different direction today and not have to deal with it. You can just say, okay, well, someone said, okay, like, are there any games to be excited about? It's like, yeah, Tales of Arise. I'm hyped for that. Ease 9 recently just came out.
What's
But
up, subliminal live a king? Welcome to the stream. So we're in the era of remaster and ports. Like that was like last year. Yeah, I think we're
yeah,
still in there.
we're always going to be in there. That's what the industry is going to be dominated by.
Yeah.
Splinter Cell had a third-person view in 2002. A lot of games had third-person
Yeah,
mechanics.
but they didn't.
Uh,
It wasn't like mastered
not
until
in
after
Yeah,
Resident Evil
like
4.
Resident Evil 4 that changed the entire industry. I'm not saying there's never been third person over the shoulder like
Yeah.
shooting mechanics, but the way that it was done, where all these games play the fucking same. It's based off Resident Evil 4.
Yeah. Like Gears of
Yeah,
War was
right.
heavily, based off Resident Evil 4. Yeah, they were playing like, even in fifth gen, Siphon Filter was third
Yeah,
person.
Siphon Filter, that one 007 game had third person shooting. There's other games that had third person shooting.
Yeah, but none of them really
They
took off the same way
they did
Resident
not
Evil.
play anything like Resident Evil 4. Like Resident Evil 4 was revolutionary.
This is how you do it. It's like this, and everyone was like,
Yeah, and then
okay,
everyone just did that.
yeah.
And they also copied. That wasn't the only thing they copied from Resident Evil 4. They also copied QuickTime events. It just
Oh
got played
yeah.
out because you remember. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
Ninja
That
Ninja
whole
Blade.
generation was copying Resident Evil 4. Like,
I
cause
think there was
that's
a
what they did.
Hitman. A Hitman game did that too. Because
Right.
Hitman never used to have anything like that until Resident Evil came. Because once Resident Evil dropped, it was everywhere. Isn't it like the most ported Capcom game? You could probably get that game on a on a toaster. You can get
Yeah.
it on like actual foreign consoles that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah, some weird Chinese bootleg console.
And it's like a direct port. Like,
Yeah.
did Capcom actually do this, or did someone else who really loves this game legitimately port this thing to so he can have something to play it on? And
Metroid
wherever.
Prime is first person.
Which Metroid? Talking about the on the
I'm talking about
GameCube?
Metroid Prime. Yeah, on the GameCube. Yeah, Metroid Prime is first person, not
Yeah.
not third person.
It wasn't a third person when you rolled in the ball. If I'm thinking of the same Metroid Prime game, 'cause I did play
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
but it was like first person.
yeah. It's first person.
But
But
as far as like like you said, Japan is basically on top, and that's one thing I was curious about because now that Sony is no longer a Japanese company, like what is like what do you think like the optics are for like gaming outside of Sony? Because I know like Japan has a really iffy, relationship when it comes to PC ports. But I kind of imagine that what I'm thinking about doing isn't like it's not too wildly far fetched an idea. You think it's possible that another company in Japan could just be like, yeah, fuck this, we're just gonna restart Sony. We're gonna call it Nosy or something. Nosy.
You mean like you're saying that is it possible for a Japanese like for a Japanese startup to make a console or something like that, like this have the same idea you're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Because I mean,
I think that like it's definitely possible, but is it likely? Uh, Japan has become more and more conservative as time goes on. And by that, what I mean is
thankfully.
it's just like they don't want to rock the boat.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what that means is that that probably is not likely to happen. They're likely to just continue to make video games.
Yeah.
They're not likely to
Do something
make
like
an entire, yeah, like a completely brand new startup makes a
yeah.
new console. That is like, I don't think we're gonna see that. I think unless something drastic happens, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon.
You would think
Um,
that the West hijacking the primary gaming platform would. I would think, but I'm just speculating because it's really strange how Sony just within the course of like one console generation flipped. Because I remember one of the biggest highlights of the PlayStation 2 was JRPGs, and now
yeah.
how many JRPGs do you see on PlayStation console?
I mean, there are definitely JRPGs that come out on PlayStation and stuff, but it's just that they're no longer the push and they're not as prevalent. But like they're there, like they're just they're underground now. It's like, for example, I just named two. Well, I named Ease 9. That is a JRPG made by one of the most legendary JRPG groups, Nihon Falcom, and it just came. It been out actually in Japan, but it just came out over here. And where's the promotion for that? It's
Zero.
nowhere. Yeah, like so it's like there are JRPGs coming out that are big ones. They're not even like some like small weird thing over there in the corner. No, it's like in Japan, it's big to them. They're like, this is fucking tight. But it it would be big to us if they would just talk about it. But you have to go to Niche Gamer to be hype about this stuff.
Yeah,
And you have
you know
Tales of
about it.
Arise, the next Tales game, that's coming out in like a couple of months. No one's talking about it except for Niche Gamer. So that's what I'm saying. Like there are definitely JRPGs that are coming out, and they're strong. Like now, I would say their weakest point was during seventh generation, but they've been coming back since eighth gen,
Mm,
and they're they're growing. They're growing strong. It's
mm.
just no one's really talking about them.
That's probably for the better then. You know, as far as like, well, I mean, I guess yes and no, because like the thing, like you told me about it, it's better that the people who bother to look for these things are likely people who care enough about the game and wouldn't want it to be fucked with outside of like strategist said the global standards on PlayStation.
Yeah, definitely. That does happen. And, and I think that like they're not exclusive to PlayStation. I guess let me kind of like take every. I have to kind of take back what I said then because the difference. There's definitely a huge difference in what you were saying. Now that I think about it, because the PlayStation One and the PlayStation Two both were strong in JRPGs.
Yeah.
Strategist is right where he says the PlayStation One was extremely strong in it. It was, but the PlayStation Two was very strong too. It may have been weaker when it came to
It's
JRPGs,
still
but
pretty
it was
buff
not
in
that. It
comparison.
was really fucking buff. Like if you were gonna play JRPGs, you were gonna get a PlayStation Two. You weren't gonna get an Xbox or GameCube. Even. Like there were some JRPGs on GameCube, but the majority of them were on the PlayStation Two. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, he's right. It had been declining since the PlayStation Two,
Thank you.
but they're starting to grow
You sure
again
you don't want me to
with
just rinse this
PlayStation
out?
Four.
Sure.
And
Yeah, just right there. Either or. I thought that one was mine. Doesn't matter. You can keep going.
yeah, but the difference is you don't have to get a PlayStation console
Yeah.
to get these RPGs anymore. Like back in the day on the PlayStation 1 and 2, you were getting a PlayStation so that you could get these JRPGs, right?
Which is one of
But
the big things about consoles back then. Exclusive
right,
sold consoles.
right, exactly. But like now you can get them on PC or they're on different platforms. So like for example, Scarlet Nexus, you know that game that came out, right? It's like I don't have to get a PlayStation to play this JRPG. So it's like PlayStation is no longer known for that. They're known for their PlayStation Studios games, like shit like The Last of Us and stuff. You know, so
That amazing, terrific game that was so good I didn't play it.
yeah. What sold PS2 mostly was third-party multiplats. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. But that's what sells any like
It's like
it,
the third part of the foundation that creates a strong console. Because you
yeah,
do need
exactly.
third
Like you
party
can't
support.
just have first party. You need first party to make people say, because
I
you're
want
gonna have
this.
competition, right? Why would I pick your if because third party is third party. Third party is going to be available on multiple platforms. So why should I pick this platform over that platform? That's why you need first party. But you do need third party as well because third party is what keeps people make people
Yeah.
want to keep your console
Yeah,
because if
it
you
makes it their
because
home. Because like
right
you know, like
make
the
it their home.
Xbox versus the PlayStation 2. You know, I got an Xbox. Me and my brother, we got an Xbox. And while we were salty about a lot of games on PlayStation that we didn't get, like Kingdom Hearts and stuff, I was pretty pissed off. But I was
Yeah,
ultimately happy with having an Xbox over a PlayStation at the time because most of the games that I did play, I really thoroughly enjoyed. So much so that it's the reason why I still have my OG Xbox here as opposed to a PlayStation 2. Like of course, I'll say it. PlayStation 2 was, of course, a way better console. But there's a reason, and I'm happy that I had an Xbox
yeah, the
because
Xbox was a good console.
yeah,
Definitely.
which is really sad given like how Microsoft has changed, and I guess it's whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
see, but that generation, I will say, like the sixth generation was really an oddball generation when you think about it, because like you had four extremely good consoles. The Dreamcast was great. The PlayStation 2 was the home of almost every gamer. That was their foundation because it just had too much stuff on it.
You could not
You want to
have
play fighting games? Yeah, exactly. You want to play fighting games? You're gonna have a PlayStation 2. You want to play JRPGs? You're gonna have a PlayStation 2. Like most genres, it was like you want to play this genre?
it
You're gonna have
was
a PlayStation
it
2.
was a gaming hub. It had
Yeah,
everything, but
exactly.
but also this is like you said, because like even through that sixth gen, even though the PlayStation 2 had damn near everything, it didn't have what Xbox was selling. It didn't
Right. It
have
didn't
what
have
GameCube was selling.
actually everything.
Yeah.
Right. Because like there was because like I had a PlayStation 2. The at first I got the Dreamcast. That's the only console generation when I had every console. I got the Dreamcast when it came out. I got the PlayStation 2, of course. Everybody had a PlayStation 2. And I remember I didn't even want a GameCube. I was not a Nintendo guy at all. But the minute I saw that Tales of Symphonia was coming out exclusively to the GameCube, I had to get it.
Yeah, system
Because
sellers.
I was, yeah, exactly. It was a system seller. Because I was just like, I love the Tales series. So I was like, there's no what that I was so angry. I was like, I can't believe that they would put a Tales game on a fucking Nintendo
On a
platform exclusively.
lunchbox.
Are you kidding
And
me? So I
when you think
had to
about
get
it,
it.
that's such a good feeling to have because it's like
Yeah,
it sucks, but it's
yeah,
also
but
really good because it's like
it
fuck,
is.
I'm a
There's a
gamer.
lot of
I want that game.
yes,
So
that's what it boiled down to. So like if it weren't for me getting a GameCube, I wouldn't have found out about Gotcha Force. I probably wouldn't have put a bunch of hours into Fantasy Star Online 2 because that's Fantasy Star Online because I didn't really put a bunch of hours into the Dreamcast version, but I put a shit ton of hours into the GameCube version. There's a lot of games that weren't first party Nintendo games, but they were exclusives that I wouldn't have played if I never got a GameCube. Then I got an Xbox a lot later, original Xbox, but still, I wanted one the minute I played DOA 3.
Yep.
Soon as I had no interest in the Xbox, but I saw DOA 3 and Jet Set Radio Future, and I was like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, dude. That they're gonna put both of these games on the
Yep.
Xbox.
And I like how they shipped the Jet Set Radio Future and Sega GT 2002 together. And I was like, wow, 2 games on 1 disc? I didn't think that was possible. Because at first I thought it was a lie. I'm like, I bet you these are fucking demos. And I played the game for the first time. Like, I didn't care about racing games, but Sega GT 2002, like, my older brother, he really got me on that. I was like, fuck. Sega GT looks so cool. And I think that was the only Sega GT game. I don't remember if there was another one or if there was even a franchise of it. But it was really cool. You know?
Yeah. See, I wouldn't be mad about shit like that though, because they're always going to be that one guy. I want to play Sega GT when I want to play fucking this game, and it's just like, oh my god, I wish this disc was separate, dude. Because you know how people, well, I don't know if like, but you know, people used to say, let me get that game from you. I'm going to go play it over somebody else's house because you're playing this game here, and it's like, okay, here.
Yeah, hold on. Let me catch up with chat right quick. Yes, there's a rumor that they are remaking The Last of Us, but looking at Rockstar, what Rockstar is doing with GTA. I guess this is a trend. You know, it's kind of weird to remaster a game that early. I heard about that too, but El Afro, will you make a video about the Steam Deck? I kind of did. I could make another one going into like more detail, but like overall, like I think it's a cool piece of hardware. I don't really think it's going to matter much. Like I think it's more of an enthusiast product. You know, if you really like stuff, I don't see myself getting one because I like my PC experience on the PC and not on the road. Because to me, the Steam Deck is a downgrade in every way. But I like the Switch because you know the Switch, you know, it's a piece of shit, but it has games I like and it works. And I could also play it on, you know, like this, not not in a mobile sense. So, and it has games that the Steam Deck won't have. Yeah, I know you can fucking emulate them, but I don't want an emulation machine. I already got one. So, yeah, but like I said, I'm not saying it's a worthless piece of shit. I just think it's very specific for a very specific crowd. Like, I don't think that thing is anywhere close to being like a viable option outside of a, you know, console gaming. Because the thing about PC gamers is that we're all fucking uptight about graphics and frame rates. And yeah, and the Steam Deck, while it's cool, it takes away both of those. So it's like, okay, what a waste of. But hey, you know, like I said, that's just my opinion on it. I don't think it sucks, but it sucks for me. Pretty sure your buddy played the Trails of Cold Steel series. Glad those games are on PC. Trials of Cold Steel?
No, he mean yeah, it's Trails of Cold Steel. I have not played the Legend of Heroes games at all. So like Trails, I started Trails in the Sky, and I have not beat it yet. I was liking it though. I have not played the Trails of Cold Steel series yet. I'm gonna finish the Trails in the Sky games, and then I'll move on to it. There's a lot of games, so it's like you know, I probably won't even touch Trails of Cold Steel this year, but I definitely will get to it because you know, Falcom is a great company and they make good games, and I've heard good things from the Trails of Cold Steel series. So yeah, I definitely will play it one day.
Speaking of Steam Deck and just like, you know, the Switch in general, I also wanted to kind of talk about the benefits of limitations when it comes to gaming. Like when it comes to the old generations, 6th gen, 5th gen, it seems like creativity peaked or was, you know, peaking when it came to that. And it's strange to see how much more powerful consoles have become now and how less interesting and creative games that are. You would think with all that extra power and, you know, blah 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 yada, you know, technical whatever, games should be, you know, blowing our minds at every given chance. Like, you know, the idea of 6th gen being the current gen, but everything just looks better. You know, that'd be great. you know,
Yeah.
like, but it's kind of funny because like Nintendo seems to be the only console company publisher still doing that because like yeah, the Switch is a weak piece of shit, but there's a ton of cool, unique games on there. And it's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why, because like, I'm not a Nintendo guy, but after getting a Switch, I was kind of interested in. Like, my girlfriend, she's playing a lot of that Fire Emblem Three Houses, and I can't help but wonder. I'm like, man, that looks pretty cool. Wonder what's going on over there. Never played Fire Emblem before, but it's interesting to see how many. And my good friend Young Sykes, he loaned me like a shit ton of his games, and now I don't even know where to start because like every game looks like something fucking new. I'm like, geez, this game looks so fucking colorful. I don't even know where to begin. Well, probably gonna be Bowser's Fury because I'm not really into Mario, but Bowser's Fury made me look at it longer than I normally would have. So I was like, I guess I'll give it a shot because I did play a little bit of Super Mario Sunshine. Didn't beat it, didn't really care for it, but I thought it was really cool, and I like to see where that's at now. But as far as like limitations on consoles, do you think that's something that makes more sense in the grand scheme of things, given how gaming has gone now? Maybe
Oh,
these consoles
definitely.
are too strong for their own good.
Definitely. Limit. There's a quote that I love Mass Effect. There's a quote that in Mass Effect 2 by a character named Morton Solus. Uh, he's talking about how important limitations are. Because he's dissecting the body of a collector, and the collector, he's like, I'm disgusted with this. They have no culture. And it's like, what do you mean? He's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, look. Oh, they can't breathe right here. They just replaced it with tech. Oh, they can't lift this thing here. They just replaced it with tech. Oh, they can't do this thing. They just replaced it with tech. He's like, but all the culture goes away. When you have limitations, they mold you. They mold you and make you and force you to grow in different areas, and you have a unique, that's what culture becomes. Culture is born from limitations. Let me try to find yeah, it's right here. It's called, I think this is it. Let me listen to it just to make sure this.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this chat by Young Sykes. Good thing about limitations is that it pushed for creativity and made people think outside the box for some of the best games ever made, and some of the games they keep rehashing because they can't think of nothing new. And it's funny how they rehash those old games, and they're even lesser than what they were 20 years ago. So that's really that's funny,
Okay.
sad.
Yeah, I want to send you this clip and I want you to play it.
All right,
I'm gonna put it in. Where the fuck is my Discord one? Here it is. Let's see. I'll
chat
put it
lounge.
in. Where do you want me to put it? In video?
Uh,
What?
put it in the chat lounge.
Chat. Chat lounge? Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right.
Glad someone clipped it.
Copy pasta. Open up a new tab and bring it on over. Bring the whole video. There you go. Minimize. Bring back my chat. Okay.
All scientific advancement due to intelligence overcoming, compensating for limitations. Can't carry a load, so invent wheel. Can't catch food, so invent spear. Limitations. No limitations, no advancement. No advancement, culture stagnates.
Wow. That is very cool. I'm gonna play that one more time.
All scientific advancement due to intelligence overcoming, compensating for limitations. Can't carry a load, so invent wheel. Can't catch food, so invent spear. Limitations. No limitations, no advancement. No advancement, culture stagnates.
It's funny how this is Mass Effect
Yeah.
compared to what Mass Andromeda. Because we're like,
Yeah, I
this is
know.
the same game. Like, what happened
Yeah.
to these guys?
And people try to convince me that the game that I'm talking about, yeah, no. This one I'm talking about, it's worthless to talk to people that try to have a revisionist way of looking at things. Well, it wasn't really. Yeah, either you're a moron or you're lying to me, because there's no way these games are made by greater people. They
Yeah.
understood certain things that these fuckheads don't get.
Well, it's
So,
not that they don't get it; they don't want to get it. They're propagandists.
right,
They
right, exactly.
intentionally don't want it. They want you to have this new shit thing and like it.
Yeah,
So it's so annoying. And it wasn't even that long ago. What was it, Mass Effect 2?
yeah. That was Mass
It's
Effect
like,
2,
geez.
2000. That was January 2010.
Hmm. And now we got the Mass Effect Andromeda, the
10 years
remaster.
later, 10 years later. No, not even 10 years later. My bad. When did Mass Effect Andromeda come out? It came out in 2006, 17. So 7 years later, we get a game that looks worse. Looks worse.
Plays
You
worse,
know,
feels worse, is
yeah.
worse. And
It's just
yeah.
God.
And so applying that logic to consoles, it's like that's why Nintendo's the only one in terms of pushing forward creatively. It's because of limitations. Because we all made fun of Nintendo, like, oh, this Switch looks like such a gimmicky piece of shit, and years later, Switch is not even a part of the console war discussion anymore because it's just that good. Can you imagine being so good that you uninvite yourself? He's like, yeah, there's no point. You guys suck. While you over here got these super duper quadruple teraflop wannabe PCs that still can't run at a stable 60 FPS. We
Right.
got this little piece of shit rock that can't even run games at 540p, kicking y'all ass, and that's hilarious. It's one of the things that I've grown to really appreciate Nintendo for, and realize just how fucking wrong I was shitting on them for all these years when all they were doing was doing what the thing that I've always wanted in the industry, being unique, being different, giving a shit about what they make. And you look at Sony and Microsoft, it's like, yeah, you guys are exactly the same, with the exception of one or two games, both of which I don't care about or have very little interest in. And if I did have interest at one point, I no longer have interest because not only is the console unappealing, but now the game is too, because the propaganda is a top priority now. Read some of these comments. The creativity is still there. It's just most of the time indie studios have to do it themselves. Exactly. That's pretty much. Yeah, exactly. That's where all the good stuff is. Just breaking free from the mainstream because it's hard for me sometimes. It's like, man, you're so used to. Oh, a good example. I don't know if you guys. I'm pretty sure I need to make that video covering it, but the developer behind Ori and the Ori and the Blind Forest. There was an article where he was complaining about how his game got overshadowed by No Man's Sky when it first came out. He had an opportunity to have his game on the front cover, and at the time it was a done deal. But after No Man's Sky was getting all this hype, I think the magazine company came to him and was like, "Look, man, we really want to cover this game to sell our magazine, and we know we gave you a position on the front cover, but please understand, we'll give you like an issue or a section at the beginning of the magazine, but the front page has to go to No Man's Sky." And at the time, the developer of Ori, he was like, "Yeah, dude, I understand. That game looks sick. I have no problem with that." Fast forward, the game comes out and it's a complete bomb because nothing about that game was true outside of the fact that it was called No Man's Sky, and it sucked. And because of that game's hype and its failure followed up, Ori had an opportunity that was lost because of it. And he was sounding off about it because like he was talking about this when Cyberpunk came up. And when Cyberpunk did the same thing, came out with all this hype and bomb because it sucked. He was like, "Yeah, dude, like imagine like you having an opportunity of a lifetime to show off your cool game that actually fucking works, only to get sidelined by this big guy over here, this big giant promised uh, will turn water into wine game, only for it to come out and bomb, and your opportunity to get flushed down the toilet as a result." Not to say that he suffered a huge loss because Ori was a fantastic game. I started playing it about a week or so ago, and it's really good so far. But that opportunity for him got sidelined because of this mainstream shit over here. So yeah, that sucks. And this is a good example as to why
But I bet
that does need to be a bigger focus on the indie scene, or just leaving the mainstream scene and focusing on the indie scene, because everything that we wanted from the previous generations is there now. You just have to look.
I think that you're definitely right, and I bet the guys who made Ori, the Ori series, they're not hurting.
No, it can't be.
I think that I almost want to say it was a blessing in disguise, because if it was on the front page, they might have gotten the type of attention that they don't want. Maybe they'd have gotten the type of attention that makes them big and mainstream, and it would have pushed them to make a game that was against their best interests. But they felt
Yeah.
like, oh, this is the type of game we have to do,
Mhm.
instead of having a more realistic view of who their fan base is, what their customer base is, and they say, you know what, I'm going to make another game. I'm going to push these ideas, and I know that they're going to enjoy it.
Yep.
Instead of trying to chase the audience that you don't know is going to like you,
Yeah.
uh, instead of the ones who already are supporting you. So it's a blessing in disguise. Not everything needs to be fucking popular.
Yeah.
Things just need to be successful.
Yeah, because like the mainstream just definition of success is, water your game down, water your game down for every little thing. Turn your game into this hodgepodge of a game that's for everyone instead of
Yeah,
for the people you want to play it.
I don't get this obsession with games wanting to be popular. Well, people want the game that they like to be popular.
Well, it's
Like,
because it's the new definition of success. If you're not on if you're not the thing everyone's talking about, then you're not successful. Even though we both know that's not true. But I
it's
think that's the
dead. The game
mentality.
is dead. Even though people are playing it and having fun, and there's a community of people that like it, it's dead. It's like it's just so
What game is that? I ain't never heard of it. Must suck.
yeah. Like, why do you care if other people like it or whatever? Like, if you're having fun, if I'm sitting over here and I'm playing this game and it's fucking tight, I don't care. Like, if someone else isn't playing it, that's their bad. That's like, man, you're eating a fucking steak and you're like, damn, this steak tastes so good. But oh, I guess it wouldn't taste this good because people don't know about this restaurant I'm eating at. So, I don't care. That's their fault if they don't want to eat at this fucking dope ass restaurant that has good steak. Who gives a shit, man?
Or
I'm
dry
gonna
steak.
eat there. Like, so, like, it's just it's that part. I think people they don't associate popularity. All they see is the good side of popularity. A bunch of people like it, so they can talk to everyone about the things that they like, and it's not some weird, small niche thing. But
Mhm.
they don't see the downside of that. You can't possibly have that many people care about any one thing. Even when you take something as big as something like football, right?
Yeah.
Football, American football, it's fucking huge. It's definitely mainstream, right? Football, basketball, all that shit. But even within that, and I don't watch football or basketball, but I know for certain there are people, you could tell the people who actually give a damn about football and basketball and the people who just go along to get along.
Yeah.
Know what teams are playing, they know the star players, and that's it.
Yeah.
They know the minimum amount of knowledge to enjoy it. But then there's people that's like, did you see what this guy like like during the game at this inning he did this thing, and when this guy, why didn't they just take him out the game? You can tell their enthusiasm. Like
Yeah.
they really they know about all this shit. Bruh, like he did this and passed it to this guy, and this guy was all the way the fuck over here. Why'd you do that? It's like, okay, this guy cares,
Yeah.
right? All
What was
right,
that
the
guy
amount of
like
people.
Kyrie Irving? Or I think that was his name. It was some guy. He made the LeBron meme where he lost the playoffs because he thought the game was over. I thought we were ahead. LeBron was crying. I was like, Even I cared at that point. I was like, "Damn, man, how dare you do that to LeBron? All you had to do was, take it up to the goal. There was no one guarding you."
Bruh.
Oh man.
But what I'm saying is like the amount of people who are that make up that like the type of people that are like that and all the people who enjoy basketball are going to be significantly smaller than the people who just watch basketball. So like when it's easier to do on something maybe that's like a real world sport because there's natural limitations like the laws of gravity and shit like that you just can't fuck with.
Yeah.
You know, those things, there's nothing you can do, so you have to try and maybe adjust the rules. But the more you do that, because it's like you're fucking with things. But in a video game, because everything's fictional, you can change everything.
Yep.
So it's like you can start fucking with things that you really shouldn't be fucking with, and it can start to affect. It can the large numbers can affect things because there are certain things where it's not supposed to be the biggest mainstream popular ginormous thing ever. It's supposed to just be successful within its own little group and it's great.
Yeah, and it
And
works.
yeah, and it works and people are making more than enough money to do what they're supposed to do. And that's fine. But when you have something where all of a sudden you have a million people who are now interested in it, they're gonna like the shit with Morton Solus. When he said all that shit, I bet because that's when Mass Effect got popular, Mass Effect 2. There are people like me who are gonna sit there, listen to what Morton say, and remember that shit for the rest of my fucking life. Because I legitimately learned a lesson. I did not understand that concept until he said it. I was like, wow, yeah, he's right. You know, because how old was I? Probably 17. I was probably 17 when I first heard that. I was like, yeah, limitations do
Gotta
do
say that
inspire
one.
creativity. Yeah, like, and but there are other people who just skip through the dialogue, who just like whatever, don't care, blah blah blah. It's not meant for them.
Hello, TLDR.
Yeah, like they're not listening to a word that any of these characters are saying, and then they say this game is dumb and it has no substance. Those would be the people who will say that, but it wasn't meant for it wasn't meant for them. That's why, like, when someone says they like Mass Effect, I ask them have they played Mass Effect 1. If the answer is no, or they don't remember it, I'm like, okay, you're one of the mainstream guys that just jumped in when they decided to market it and make it more mainstream.
Yeah, when the
You know,
new,
like,
the Mass Effect remastered trilogy or whatever the fuck recently came out.
well,
No,
but
I'm
that's the
hyped
thing.
for that
It's not
game.
even. It's not even just that though. Like it was way before that. Mass Effect 2 was the start of that. Like it was Mass Effect 2 that was the beginning of that. You know, that's when Mass Effect blew the fuck up, and it quickly turned to shit because
Yeah.
they started dedicating to the majority.
Well, didn't
They said, okay,
the first Mass Effect? They weren't Bioware wasn't with EA during that first game, right? It was Mass
no,
Effect 2 that was made under EA's
right,
umbrella, right?
right. Not even all the way through it. Like when they were making Mass Effect 2, they still weren't under EA at a certain point. They were making Mass Effect 2, and if you, I wish I could find that footage. It is not around anymore. But there was Mass Effect 2 was shown at GDC. I want to say it was like 2008 or something like that. It was at like GDC. It was at one of these GDCs, and the gameplay looked like. Oh, here it is. I found it.
Well, let's see
Yeah.
it.
Hold on. So I want to show you this. This is 1 year. Okay, this is incredible. So this is GDC 2009, and this is early development footage of Mass Effect 2, right? Now, when you look at this, if you've ever played Mass Effect 1, you'll see how similar it looks to Mass Effect 2. I mean, to Mass Effect 1.
Mhm.
You'll say, wow, yeah, that's Mass Effect right there. All right?
Yeah.
So let me link that. Let me put that in the chat lounge. So this that is how Mass Effect 2 was look in 2009. This game came out in 2010, by the way. All right. Now they got purchased by EA around this time,
All right.
and
All
the
right.
game drew. Yeah, go ahead, play it.
All right. Watch now. Play later.
Can we drop the lights? Oh yeah, we drop the lights. So this is narrative play. The idea here is just spacing. The enemies won't fight back, won't shoot back. It's my mind. These enemies now, they don't have proper cover. How do you get the idea? This is how I use the PC fun. Look at the orange line. It's new religion. So the player and the enemies have relative actual cover. Break down
Very Mass Effect 1E.
Yeah, it did, right? And this is a year, so it isn't like, oh well, they just started developing the game. This was like back in, because Mass Effect 1 released in 2007.
Yeah.
So this game, it wasn't like, oh, this is development in 2008 or something. This was 2009, and this was EA acquired them, I want to say, in 2009. Um, so this game, just the way the art's like in that final like point of the development, right? It's the way the colors of the stages look. Like Mass Effect had that like blue red like aesthetic. It
Yeah.
had like all the characters are wearing armor and shit like that in space. The way the life bars look, all that stuff. It still looked like an RPG. It looked like Mass Effect 1, but the minute it was purchased by EA, they everything changed like immediately. It became more like, make this more of a shooter
Shooter. Third
and an
person shooter.
RPG. Like take out inventory. Make the characters more like, what's the best way I can put it? Uh, like some characters benefited from that, like making them more exciting, but some characters like they didn't fit. And I remember the first when I saw this, right? I was like excited. I said, "That's fucking cool." I really thought this was scrubbed from the internet, but anyway. Um, but the first trailer that came out after this, after I saw this, was Jack. And when I saw Jack, I don't know if you remember Jack.
And she's the bald girl. Then she have like
Yeah, with the
she was
tattoos.
really buff at something.
Biotics.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first saw Jack, I said, "Why the fuck did they put a Fallout character in my game?"
A raider.
Yeah, I was like, this bitch doesn't even fucking fit. Where's her spacesuit? Where is her like other characters? Garrus, fine. Tali, fine. You know, Grunt, okay, cool. You know, it was like a lot of characters, cool, right?
They look like they, from the last
They
game.
fit,
They
right?
are.
But like I wouldn't have even minded her. I don't mind her being bald headed. I don't mind her not having tattoos. It was just that like that's how she's gonna walk around the entire time when we're out in space and we're doing shit. And that's dumb because this game really was serious about space shit and okay, cool. So it felt like EA already began to like, well, people are stupid and so they're not gonna care about any of this shit. And the people who care about that type of stuff like me
Are in
are
the minority.
smaller. Yeah, we're the minority. So now they're going to start making this game for these guys. And they say, oh, well, these people don't care about quality either. So we can just make a game in a year, under a year. Mass Effect 1 3 was originally supposed to come out in November of 2011. And Mass Effect 2 came out in January of 2010. And it wasn't like they immediately started working on Mass Effect 3. They were working on DLC. So the last DLC came out in like the end of 2010 or the beginning of 2011, something like that. And they were working on Mass Effect 3, and that game, so they had to delay it to March of 2012. And of course, we know that Mass Effect 3 was rushed. So it's
Yeah.
like, and
Didn't
despite
because
that, it's
they
still
had that little tacked on multiplayer mode.
yes, yeah, they had to tack on multiplayer, and it was no one wanted it. No one wanted it, but we dealt with it. So that's what I'm talking about. Like when they changed their market, it didn't take long because it became mainstream. Then once it became mainstream, because Mass Effect was not mainstream before two, it simply wasn't. It was recognized as successful, but it was not mainstream. It was not popular until Mass Effect 2 came out, and Mass Effect 2 people liked it, and then it got all that push from journalists and stuff. Then it became like whoa, it's the greatest thing ever on the planet Earth. And then Mass Effect 3 suffered for it, and the Mass Effect entire franchise suffered for it. That's what happens when you try to push for popularity instead of success,
Yeah.
because they're not the same thing.
Yeah, especially
But
nowadays, because the difference between popularity and success. I've yet to play Mass Effect. You should, but never mind. I'll let you forget. But yeah, you should, because I played it. It was pretty good, and I didn't like it anywhere near as much as Cross did, but I did enjoy it. Because I remember, I think my first playthrough, I forgot about Jack because I was getting kind of fed up. I was like, Jesus Christ, I don't give a fuck about her. Like, yeah, but you kind of needed her. I was like, I forgot how many characters I lost during the suicide mission. I lost the really cool, the green dude. I forgot his name.
Thane.
Yeah, I was pissed off. I was like, I probably should have prepared better. But
Yeah,
I didn't want
was
the
like-
way to
I
do.
was I was like, yeah, hey, man, I ain't gonna tell you shit.
Yeah, when that beam came through the ceiling, I was like, man.
Let your ass get blown out. I'm not about to help you. You're an idiot and shit.
Yeah, I told you this from the beginning, but you didn't listen. I was like, well, I still beat it, so whatever. But yeah, dude. Like, well, I was gonna say, Lude, if you can play the original on the PC, I'd get that, not the new remaster. But I'll leave that to you because playing the original with the dope mods requires effort. And I'd much rather play those than this new one because I'm not about to buy a shittier version of the same game I already own. When it was made, when they cared versus now when they're just like, like we said earlier, we're making it more what inclusive or acceptable on today's standards. Yeah, no one wants to look at the character's booty. This scene that showed her booty, we changed that. I like her booty though. It's one of the reasons why I put up with the character.
And you say, well,
He's
there's
like-
mods, and I can just mod it back in. Okay, well, there's mods for the original.
Yeah.
Our game look good. So
Yeah, so
if I'm gonna mod a game, I might as well mod Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 and make the game look fucking gorgeous the way I like. Instead
yeah.
of modding in something that's supposed to fucking be there already.
Yeah, like do a Street Fighter 5 when they were modding the camera to fix to get back Armika's butt slap, and I was like,
Yeah, it's just like you. It's
the fact that I have to even do that
it's
is
still a thing because when they made it, it was a different. The whole super was different. Like
Yeah.
not only was it the butt slap, but her and Nadeshiko would spray at the opponent's fucking legs when they. So it's like that doesn't even happen anymore.
yeah, their legs are like together
Yeah,
and shit.
and the arm placement of the characters are different. It's just like, yeah, dude, it's like they changed it. And
Yeah,
then,
for no
like,
reason.
Yeah, and there was a bunch of shit like that, like Cammy and
Yeah, they move the
it's such
camera
fun.
over. It's
Ooh,
like,
kiss your crotch. It's like, bro, I'm staring at her ass the entire game. But
oh yeah, and don't forget player 2 Chun-Li's titty bounce.
yeah.
That shit was
yeah.
nice. I remember those.
And I'm like, oh, you totally didn't mean that. Like, but I bet if the reaction was, dude, that's fucking amazing, they would have been like, oh yeah, that was awesome, right?
Yeah, yeah, we totally meant to do that.
Yeah, we
Because
totally.
that seems like such a specific thing, and it's like, no, you don't do that by accident, man.
I think they wanted it to be in the game, and they did mean to turn it off. Like it was there for at first, and then when they got to like the what do you call it, the social justice reviewers, they were like, that needs to be fucking.
God damn it,
So,
Clay.
okay, so they just eliminated it on on the because as developers they only play on 1P when they're testing shit, so they probably just like, yeah, okay, take it out, and they took it out, and then on 2P they're like, oh shit, it's still in.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oops. Like Gaseous Clay said, Mika's ass effect makes my mass erect. Oh man, because I swear, man, that was gonna be the thing that kept me playing that game. It wouldn't be enough in the long run, but I tried. I tried so hard to like that game, dude. But fuck it. Yeah, let's not show off the genetically enhanced, meant to be sexy character that's supposed to be a part of her story because my male gaze
Essentially, women who are post-wall are jealous of video game characters because they command men's attention.
Yeah.
And they don't like that.
It just what's that chick say? This is why I fucking hate video games because it just pushes the male fantasy.
See, this is why I don't play video games because it just caters to the male fantasy. It caters to the male fantasy. It's like, bitch, you cater to the male fantasy every day when you spread your legs and open your mouth. Shut up. Like, God, you're so stupid.
Every day.
Please stop talking. I know your types. College, think you're educated, won't get with anybody, but will fucking get dick down all day.
Non-stop.
Then, non-stop, get to the age of 35 and wonder, well, I'm not for fuck boys.
After you were for fuck boys.
Yeah.
Like, only now do I realize. It was like, well, now it's even stupider because, like, what's up, Kuroki? Yeah, because now it's like, dude, whatever, man.
Yeah, but let's not get on that subject. We're talking about
Vidya.
Yeah,
but
it's just that these specific bitches get into positions like
they cross
HR and all this shit. They get into these management positions of these fucking companies when they don't give a damn about the shit that we like, and you hear about the shit with Activision?
Oh yeah, how it's crumbling from the inside because of the frat boy. Yeah.
Blizzard is responsible for the suicide of this girl.
The college frat boy culture and how they don't care about.
You killed her. Gee, I thought, like, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, damn, did she jump off, like, the Blizzard fucking building and fucking Minecraft herself? But it was just like, no, she went on some trip somewhere and killed herself. I'm like, how the fuck is Blizzard supposed to? Unless there's like I want to see a tweet from Bobby Kotick that says, bitch, and when you come back, you better have that mouth open like you do every other night. Then I'll believe some suicide shit. But
yeah.
Where are, again, nobody ain't raping these hoes, man. That's what it is.
The accusation is all you need.
Yeah, 20 years ago. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry. So, Blizzard's like, okay, well.
And now the entire company is like, getting nuked from the inside. And it's just like what you were saying. It was like, I think I'm going to go the Mike Pence route when it comes to this.
Why would you lower your... Get the fuck out of here.
Not even going to talk about this shit. Bro. Yeah. And then when that one woman says something, and then then you sitting over here, your whole company is on.
When it comes to success, after you have done all these years of work and success, and then one woman says, I stubbed my toe and now I have to get it amputated, and it was all because of you. And then every beta male simp is like, yeah, that's right.
How dare you contribute to this culture where she doesn't feel safe?
We should all get our dicks cut off. I'm good on that. I'm good on that. Because if a guy were to come up and say that shit, hey man, I killed myself because you made Zaslamel's pecs too fucking big. No one would care. And that would be beneficial to me.
Yeah.
No one would give a shit. So like the fact that no one gives a fuck about men benefits me. That's why I would only hire dudes, because it's just like, oh, nice. No one's gonna give a fuck about if you try to do some dumb shit
Yep.
like that.
I think it was what's his name? The comedian Bill Burr. Like he had a special. It was like, dude, this is crazy. Like if a guy gets his dick cut off, folks will laugh at him. Oh, look at him stumpy. But like if a fucking woman gets half a dick cut off, we're gonna the country will come to a complete halt. They'd have pink flags during football games. Everything would just cease to be. I'm like, man.
Yep. He said, what he said was, if I ripped your titty off and threw it in the fucking dryer machine, he was like, everybody would fucking, the country would come to a screeching halt. It's like, yes, exactly, because that is the way the world works. I didn't make the rules. I didn't create man. I'm just observant of them.
Yeah, no double rules here. No double standards here. No, sir.
Yeah, so look, that's all I'm saying, man. And or the other shit I linked you about Rivet. And
we might as well go ahead and talk about that too.
Dude. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, I'm not fucking crazy when I'm saying this shit. That's the shit that really, if you want to piss me off, say shit like that. Because I'm sitting there like, I know. Well, can you think of an excuse? Here's one. Well, can you think of something? And how many IAG, bro?
You can give them all of them and it still wouldn't be enough.
Yeah,
because,
it still wouldn't fucking matter.
Because it's the wrong opinion. You can't say that, man. Come on, Cross. You're not a sexist bigot, are you?
I am. It is easier and
to
simpler for you to just think that about me
and fuck off
than the actual fucking truth. I want you to go away. fuck off. Yeah. Yes, I am. I hate women. I wish I could rip their uteruses out and eat their fucking eyeballs for breakfast.
Ovaries.
Ovaries. They're ovaries. Yeah. That's the way I fucking feel. You happy now? Stupid idiot.
Yeah, now go away.
Now go away.
Write a twit longer about it.
Yeah. He said he would rip out the ovaries. Oh, God. So stupid.
But yeah, like the thing with Rivet, man, like I like how they said the consensus was met from, I think it was 2 women and a trans who was like turning into or transitioning into a feminine. And the guy writing the tweet was like, as the majority of male representation, we thought it was safer to appease this group of people who are upset about Rivet, a female character looking like a woman or something. I don't remember the whole story because like it was one of those things like I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's stupid, and just kind of kept going. I'm surprised they're not having a similar issue over at PlayStation Land because it sounds
I'm sure they have someone just sitting on it until the right time to actually say anything.
Yeah, because maybe who makes was it PlayStation Studios that makes Ratchet and Clank?
I think so. Or Insomniac, I thought maybe.
Yeah.
Oh wait, are they part of PlayStation Studios anymore?
They are. I think PlayStation acquired them not too long ago. But I don't know. It doesn't matter. The Ratchet and Clank guys. I'll just call it Sony. Whatever.
Yeah.
So their game. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they're just waiting for the proper opportunity to,
Oh yeah, they always do. Because when you ask them, when did it happen? They're like, I don't know, maybe a time where no one could have a good memory of the situation.
It was so discreet and under the radar, and now here we are.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
And if you say the wrong thing, then get done, son.
We're gonna take and in the game. I don't know if you read that Blizzard article, but
not really.
It's like we're gonna change. Oh yeah, they had a list of all the things they were gonna do. We're gonna change our policies and blah blah blah. No one cares about that shit, right? But the last bullet point said, and the content that's been in our game so far that's been problematic, we're gonna take that out. And all I could do was sit there and laugh because I was just like, damn, I feel sorry for all those guys who
Was just playing games.
playing their fucking dumbass games made by Blizzard, and
Hold
they
on,
thought
I
they were
found
gonna
it.
have fun.
All right, hold on. Those unable to attend work are invited to a virtual walkout. Okay, anyway. An end to mandatory aberration clauses in all employee contracts, current and future. Protect abusers. Adoption of recruiting, interviewing, hiring, and promoting policies designed to improve represent blah blah blah. Publication of data on relative compensation, including equity grants and profit sharing. Promotion rates, salary ranges for employees of all genders and ethnicities at the company. Empower a company-wide diversity. There it is. in equity and inclusion task force. You know how you like how they make this shit sound so covert and legit. I'm gonna employ a task force to make sure this shit is. So I guess RIP Activision Blizzard. I
Yeah,
guess
they've been ripped.
I mean, but not.
but
Hold on.
this is like the gravestone.
Oh, this is
We're
stuff being
part of
written.
Yeah.
In addition, Activision Blizzard will also be taking the following actions: employee support, listening, personnel changes, hiring practices, in-game changes. We have heard the input from employer and player communities that some of our in-game content is inappropriate. We are removing that content. I wonder what that content is. Because like I can think of a very problematic game. What's it, Call of Duty Warzone, where
it's gonna be Overwatch.
oh yeah, I forgot about that game.
And it's gonna be that Diablo game that people want to play so much. That what is Diablo 2 remaster?
Oh, they are making a remaster, aren't they? Last time I heard about Diablo was during that whole stink about the I forgot what it was.
Yeah, they can't make anything new, so they said we're gonna make this old game that people really like, and so they're like, oh damn, people like that, we gotta ruin it. I'm telling you, that's how it works. So it's like, yeah, yep.
Well, I guess like rip, press F in the chat for Activision. Oh well, I mean, I guess. Maybe Spyro will be safe. I don't know what the hell they could take out of that game, but we'll see. I guess this means we're not going to get a new Spyro. Not that it matters.
That's
anyway.
Activision Blizzard, I think, right? Or was that just Blizzard? Because they said Bobby Kotick, so I'm thinking it's Blizzard.
I'm putting it
but
all
of course
together.
it's going. Oh yeah, it's going to be all together.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But this specific thing is for Blizzard, and then Activision is just already dog shit. Yeah, they're part of it, right? Because they had to approve it anyway.
Right, see, Young Sykes. Yeah, they already talked about how they're gonna tone down the characters in Diablo 2. Love Diablo 2. That's where you fucked up, Young Sykes. You love the game. Stop that. But a lot before I knew that PC game was most definitely will not buy this garbage. Well, that's the best thing you can do. Don't waste your money.
I'm telling you, actually play the original old games. Because and get them while you can, because if you don't,
you'll regret it.
It's gonna come a point when you're not gonna be able to get them, and then either physically or ROM or digital. Like if you can get a digital, like a file for it or whatever, do that too. And like there is one thing I will say about Steam or things like that. It's like there's something that someone in the chat said, whatever. Like I consider all my digital games, what do you call it, expendable, and it's like I can understand that mindset, but really what's gonna happen is that this is what's gonna happen. If they ever do something where it's like you have to pay a subscription service, or you don't own those games and you can't have access to them offline or whatever, someone's gonna create a cracking service that will unlock, because the games are actually there on your system. They're there. You know, they would have to be deleted off your system, right? So someone is gonna say that's not cool, and they're gonna create a cracking service, and then you're gonna have all your games again. So to me, like that whole like fear mongering of like, oh, all these games you bought digitally, you're not gonna like one day they could just take them away from you. It's like until someone who isn't cool with that
Says
gives us the keys back
I
to our
don't think
own
so.
game. Yeah,
Get
right.
locked out
Like
of your own car.
right. It's like I'm gonna go call the fucking keymaster and he's gonna give me a key. It's like it's gonna be inconvenient, but it's gonna get solved real fucking
Yeah.
fast.
Just like the Resident Evil 8 DRM thing. Because someone was like, this isn't cool.
This isn't cool. I don't have to wait for fucking Capcom. I'll just do it myself. And so like there you go. But with streaming games, there is no possibility of that. That's why they want to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can't. That's why they haven't done that to us yet. Because they know, man, someone would just. Not
Right.
only we lose 100% faith out of people, when it comes to, we need them to have faith in digital titles, so we can't do that yet. Yeah, we have to get them to streaming because then we have absolute control. You know.
All right, I'll check the Discord after the stream, Clay, because I know you can lit that shit up. Oh Lord, yeah, I'm gonna get to that later. Thank you, Clay. But yeah, dude. But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this segment up because I want to get on to Black Temple FGC with my boy Kuroki here. Thank you, Cross, for coming and blessing us with much needed knowledge about our impending doom and how there's plenty of stuff we can do about it if we're not lazy. But,
yeah, you can always look, man. All I am is that I see the bombs in the sky, and I don't know exactly when they're gonna drop, but I can probably say, it's gonna drop at this point, maybe around this time because they're this high in the air, and it probably takes this much time for them to hit the ground. I can just go over there.
Yeah,
that's
well,
plenty of time for me to go from here to there. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go do that. Now, if you want to stay here and live like a Fallout character, that's cool.
I mean, I've always wanted a girlfriend like Jack. You know,
exactly.
Fucking bald and masculine and probably has a dick.
Yeah, sure. But
you do you, bro.
Yeah, you do you. I'll be over here in a different place.
Yeah,
not doing that.
But it's whatever. But like that's a good thing about hopefully when the time comes when I'm able to build this new console, this new gaming subculture, then all the people who like Funatari girls will be over there where the bombs turn women into dick wielders. But we'll be over here in our little covet or hole where everything's just dope. And the only people here that are invited are ones who care. Because I'm serious, dude. I think starting from first gen over again is going to be dope. And those games are going to be so specific that you have to be a fucking niche fag to enjoy it and care about it. Like, man, what's this, some 8-bit garbage? This isn't Sony. This isn't Last of Us Part 3, Funatari Edition. Like, well, it ain't for you, man, so you do you. But this next segment, me and Kuroki, we're going to talk about building up Black Temple FGC because we think the current FGC is trash. And we want to develop our own, just like how we want to do in gaming. Because, the current FGC lacks a lot of interesting things that it used to have back in the day. Now it's for FGC for kids. But that's lame. I miss the good old days when you had your Filipino champs and your Chris G's, your villains like LTG. There was like real beef. What's that other? Noel Brown. Oh man, that shit was tight.
Gave her the 2-piece and the piston.
Yeah, remember that dude swung on him doing a Marvel tournament? Like, it's Marvel. That dude did a bionic arm.
Yeah, I
Oh
remember.
man.
Yeah, I remember when the ghost of Marvel's past came up on stage and challenged the Chris G and Marvel. No, what was it? It challenged Justin Wong to a match of Marvel right then after he
No,
won.
it was Chris G.
It was Chris
Yeah.
G. Yeah,
You came with
and
holding the
it was
controller.
Justin Wong in the background. He was just like, what?
What's going? Who is this guy? And Chris G was like, hello.
He's like, yeah, we gotta play right now. And then security just came over and fucking grabbed him. I was like,
That was so. that was so curious. I was like, is this part
who
of
is
it?
this guy?
Like,
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, damn, is this
like a surprise exhibition match or something.
Yeah, what's going on?
And who the fuck is this guy, dude? Like, who is he? Young Sight does say, don't forget about Wolf Chrome. Yeah, dude, because, like, you know, this new FGC is no bueno when it comes to, like, you know, certain aspects, the culture. The new FGC culture is boring and unimaginative, and the games are boring and unimaginative, save, you know, Tekken. But I've been hearing a lot about Melty Blood, and I never really got into that game. I wouldn't mind playing it just to see how I feel about it now. Because back then I was just too distracted. I was too busy playing Street Fighter 4 or, you know, Tekken. If it wasn't one of those two games, I wasn't playing it.
Yo.
What's up? You in the chat now, Kuroki?
Yeah, what's bracking?
There you go,
Good
man.
with y'all.
Nothing much, man. You ready to get the Black Temple FGC started?
Oh man, this is something I've been thinking about for quite a long time, and just I wanted to launch this at a proper time, you know. So I feel like, you know, we waited long enough. This is definitely that moment because you're seeing the fall of the FGC, especially with COVID and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, you know, the communities that used to all get together. I mean, there's still a few of them, right? You still have your Team Spooky, right? You know, there's always something going on with them. You got Super Arcade. You know, these guys, they're always out there. I mean, it's just amazing to see, like, some of the communities are still actually active, but like the FGC at large itself, like without tournaments and everything like that, it's really fucked itself up pretty bad. And then not to mention, you know, that shit that happened with Mr. Wizard and the Evo thing, like that really crushed a lot of people. And I talked to a homie, shout out to my homie Ernesto Lopez, aka Butt Check. You know, we had a discussion about that as well back in the day.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just kind of looking at it from the perspective where it's like the FGC needs to have some type of reform, some type of restructuring, you know, have people
not
really
necessarily
like get back to.
Yeah, not necessarily like reform in the FGC, but just an alternative. Because like just like how we were talking about earlier in gaming, we don't really want to save gaming. We just want to make our own.
Let's put it this way. I would consider it like the renaissance of the of what fighting games was.
Yeah.
For us growing up and where it is for us now, like how we still perceive fighting games, because I feel like the esports scene kind of took that away. Like you know, you would think that, you know, in this modern day, right, esports would be this like the ultimate competitive sport, right? But in reality, what esports started doing was it started actually taking away from the competitive edge of fighting games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like watering down. You know, in order to be esports, you gotta fit this this new criteria established by outsiders from that game.
Rules, you know,
like certain things like,
game,
costumes are banned. No, they're banned for costumes. Like you can't wear this costume. This game isn't, you know, esports centric, so you're gonna have to change the game so that it is, you know, allowed, so to speak, and so on and so forth. You know, like we were talking about earlier with Armika's butt slap being censored.
Yeah, I told you just when you were talking about that. So, Yeah.
And
I
games
was
like Dead or
laughing.
Alive changing in order to fit into the esports scene.
Yeah. That's why everybody still prefers Dead or Alive 5 last round.
Thank you, Young Sykes, for that link to Melty
Cuz
Blood Axis again. I'm trying that.
speaking of Melty Blood, I haven't even tried that game yet. To be honest, I've been too focused on playing Marvel 2.
Mhm.
That's been like my bread and butter, and now that I got my arcade stick, that's a crazy thing that like everything is kind of coming full circle now, because while we're discussing Black Temple, I was actually able to raise enough money to go and get myself an arcade stick,
Mhm.
and now I get to emulate that experience at home. Um,
Hopefully, Black Temple is something we can build on our own terms. As far
right.
as like both doing, I guess we could start out. We're gonna start out online and slowly, hopefully, growing into something that can be done offline too.
But
Because
like we said, we always wanted it to be the natural experience like it was in the first
yeah,
place.
in the good times.
Right.
So like I
Nothing.
guess
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess like starting out, did you can you like if you have the time send me that the Black Temple logo or the
Oh,
backdrop
Discord.
for it? Yeah, because I want to go ahead and start promoting it in streams. Like right here, we could talk about our ideas and intentions or whatnot, but I do want to start like promoting it during streams,
For
like
sure, for sure.
for the commercial break and so on and so forth. I want to really get the ball rolling because
Yeah, for sure.
it's
I'm
like
down with that.
stuff like Fight K we already have access to. We can use that starting off, as well as Parsec for playing other games off
Right.
that are offline online,
Mm-hmm.
like stuff from like Power Stone and whatnot. Tested it, run pretty good from my experience with my brother. So I think that'd be tight. Get to the point where we can start having hosting tournaments, uh, and so on and so forth. Really push the Black Temple FGC.
What I really want to establish in Black Temple is like we were just talking about the competitive edge. Like I really want to see the rivalries in the community. I like, you know what I mean? Like the friendships will grow out of those rivalries. That's the best part of what the authentic FGC
Mhm.
was that like you built this rivalry with this person, and either you beat the shit out of him and he didn't quit, or he beat the shit out of you and you didn't quit. So now you guys have been playing like 50 something matches, and
Yeah,
you still don't have like no give up, like you
yeah,
you don't quit.
and there's no filter either for like
Right, no
banter,
filter.
because
Right.
now since everything is overtly sanitized, there is no more room for villains in the FGC anymore, which is really whack because that was a really fun element to the FGC back then. Because you would love to see people like Filipino Champ get taken down by like the silent killer. It was I think someone made a video about it. I forgot the guy's name, but it was during a set where Filipino Champ was constantly shouting at him, "You're free! You are free!" And, he was fucking him up in the beginning of the set, but towards the end, the other dude came back and beat him. And I'm like, that was beautiful. You know, we don't get that stuff anymore. Now everything's just streamlined. Everything. Yeah, we have a code of conduct and shit like that that really sucks out the fun and the flavor in fighting games, especially competitive scenes, tournaments.
Yeah.
What's up, Freddy Krueger? Look at that. Oh, well, that's pretty funny. But yeah. So I miss that. I want that. I want that back. And just like we said with gaming, we want to push it ourselves and not wait for fucking what's that shit? Evo,
Hmm.
Mr. Wizard type
Yeah.
shit going on.
It and the thing is like I don't I don't want to like just stand on like just a few fighting games and stuff like that. Like I feel like there's more that can be done with Black Temple as far as like, competitive, tournaments and just like, battle lobbies. Just bunch of friends getting together and just having a good time, you know, having a drink battle or whatever, right? You lose the match, you take a drink,
Yeah.
whatever. Like,
Take-
you know, that shit would be pretty fun, right? Like, and then on top of that, there'll be segments where we actually talk about different fighting games and how they were developed and, you know, like where it's at right now, what it has to offer. You
Yeah.
know, so we'll take a deep dive into the origins of each fighting game that we find at that time entertaining to us, and
Mhm.
I feel like that's a passion project from my mind, because I've been wanting to do something like that for a while. So likely what would end up happening is, you know, a lot of Black Temple will be promoted on my channel. I might make a second channel, but I'm kind of just diving into keeping it all into just Kuroki Samurai. So everything will be able to be found there.
Yeah. And don't forget
That
your
was
plug your channel, Kuroki Samurai
Yes.
on YouTube.
definitely youtube.com/Kuroki Samurai. I actually got that official link. I'm so happy.
Can you make your Afro immortal too? First step, be me. In step 2, you can't, because you're not me.
And step 3, repeat step 2.
Endlessly. But you know, there's a way you can get an Afro. But I can't tell you. A lot of it has to do with who your parents are. I got lucky. But yeah, so like for like our first few games, I think we talked about it previously a few days back. You said you wanted to start with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on Dreamcast, since it's available through Fightcade. You wanted to do something like Third Strike or one of the Street Fighters. I'm not sure which one you said.
Yeah, I like Third Strike, man. Like there's just something about it that I always come back to every time, man. Like I'll turn on my 360 just to play it. I get on my computer now because I told you I had that whole emulator thing going on now with my computer. So
Yeah.
I got that shit working with, you know, CSP3. Yeah. The CSP2 and the CSP1. So I've been like emulating these arcade with MAME, right? You know, MAME 03 and shit like that. I've really just been trying to dive deep into how to emulate certain games, because, you know, it's hard to find a lot of these titles physical form right now.
We were talking about that earlier, how it will be within your best interest to collect as much of these games that you can before they disappear
down
forever, or they reappear but not in the way you remember, which is
yes, because they'll find a way to re-release it and fuck it all around.
Yeah, someone actually petitioned Nintendo to not allow it.
I couldn't imagine they re-release Marvel 2 with half the roster.
Well, you know, it's not so much that they would change the roster, just certain aspects of the game, like, you know, Rogue, however you say her name. She probably won't be as endowed or attractive or some shit.
Yeah, no, she won't blow a kiss at you.
Yeah.
You know, can't be doing none of that. That's
sexist or something. I don't know. It's something we don't want. I know that much.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though I would totally risk it all to get blown by a Rouge. It's like, worth it.
You might be. Yeah, you know what? You might be thinking of the character from Sonic, Rouge.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
That's
That's you. You're doing that. No, man. I'm gonna stop you right there, son.
Hey.
Boba the Bat.
Hey, yo.
I don't want no COVID, bro.
Hold on, my dude. Hold on. How about this? I got a question for you. Everybody in the chat, I'm pretty sure y'all probably already know. With the news, you know, Smash is almost over. One last DLC character, so
I really hope it's Goku.
You know what? Like, I've been trying to say this for the longest, though. Think about it. If Kazuya is not the final character, Sephiroth isn't the final character, and Minecraft Steve isn't the final character, then who the fuck can be bigger than all three of those characters?
Hey,
they got an ace in the hole.
Hey.
It could be fucking like Dracula from Castlevania, my dude. Like, we need a Castlevania villain in this bitch.
Look,
or
man,
the Reaper.
I'm gonna stop you right there. I'm gonna stop you right there, because what you're doing is getting excited. So you need to cool your jets, Because if you
Look,
get too hype,
look,
you're gonna end
that's
up hurting your own
I'm
feelings.
I'm just saying that like they have to have an ace in the hole. Why would they put their biggest cards before the last? But anyway, that's not really where I wanted to take this because I was really going to bring up the fact that Nintendo's DLC cycle is almost over with this game, and right out of the darkness that is Nickelodeon at this point, they come out with this Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, or what I think that's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna have Nigel Thornberry and fucking like dog if they put like Rocket Power or some that can you imagine like they
Otto.
just have like all these fucking wild ass characters coming back. Like the fact that Nigel Thornberry can fight already, that's just blowing my mind right now. Like all I want to hear him say is smashing, but you know that's just me.
Every time he KO you, smashing. That'd be
Shout out
pretty.
to Nintendo. That's
Well,
smashing.
we'll see where it goes. But Lou thinks the
Um,
last character is gonna be Master Chief. Like,
yeah. Yo,
I don't know, man. Let's try removing all the characters they announced for Fortnite because Fortnite got a lot of those characters. Let's say it's none of those guys, like Master Chief, anyone from Marvel, obviously.
I think okay, look, think about it this way though. I think a Marvel character has a chance of being in Smash because of the simple fact that they still have that license with Marvel with was it Ultimate Alliance 3. That's exclusive to the Switch. They could take that same art style and add them into
I'd rather take another
Smash.
Fire Emblem character over a fucking Marvel character.
Oh come on, Spider-Man. That wouldn't be
No.
too bad.
I don't
Or
know, man.
Wolverine. They come out with Wolverine.
Money's on Master Chief or Sora, Lou.
Master
I
Chief
guess
would be crazy if they actually do some like Xbox Game Pass shit on Switch or some shit like that, like just to promote Xbox on the Switch or some crazy shit. They're just like, here's
it's not
Master
much.
Chief.
Not much they could promote outside of fucking Minecraft.
Halo on the Switch though. Could you
Yeah,
imagine?
no, that's not gonna happen, dude.
Oh come on,
That's-
hey,
That's
be
a
wild as hell.
silly.
Though. Come on.
Yeah, it
I
is,
know.
but it's as
I know
wild
it's
as it is,
bullshit.
it's just as equally not not gonna happen.
I know it's bullshit, but come on, like, but that's the part about gaming that's entertaining for me is just like these wild what if scenarios because there has been quite a few of those what if scenarios that actually came true in some capacity. So
I'd probably be more interested in a Streets of Rage character going.
yeah, I think that could be the case. But let me tell you real quick. I think we could probably see a Mortal Kombat character. I mean, Mortal Kombat started on the Super Nintendo. Why wouldn't they put? And they have Mortal Kombat 11 on Switch.
Yeah, but I don't think that. That doesn't have
Why
as
wouldn't
much
they
as
put Scorpion or Sub Zero or in their classic attire? I mean, shit. Actually, Liu Kang in his original like fatalities and stuff didn't actually kill his opponent.
Yeah, but
because he was
I don't
drunk.
think they would want to associate those two brands with Pigman and Isabelle. I mean, I think the
don't
farthest
know.
they're gonna go M-rated is
They
Bayonetta.
put Snake in Bayonetta. And
Yeah, I think that's the farthest they're gonna go. And the only reason Bayonetta was there is because Nintendo acquired Bayonetta because Sega wasn't gonna do shit with it anyway. So I'm like, I can see that.
I mean,
That's why I think
don't
that's the
know.
farthest they would go.
Mortal Kombat and Nintendo have a big history, though.
I don't think it's that big.
I mean,
not
it
big enough.
It started on the Nintendo.
Yeah, a lot of games started there.
that's the first home console that it was on.
Yeah, but that was so
Aside from the
long
Genesis,
ago.
man, ain't nobody want to play that shit on the Genesis.
Yeah, but that was so long ago. Like, Mortal Kombat has become its own thing. They're a WB now. You likely see a crossover with some bullshit WB just thrown together
like W.
before you see it on Nintendo.
Oh my
Like,
god.
because if you look at most of the characters that are there, they're associated with in some capacity with Nintendo long term, with the exception of I guess maybe Snake and Banjo.
Snake's been in the game since
Yeah,
Brawl.
exactly.
And
so it's like,
yeah, he's been a staple character basically since then. So they were gonna bring him back regardless. But as far as like this being the final DLC character, at least for now, because I think one of my homies told me that in a one of the interviews for one of the DLC characters, he said something about like a pack 3, but I'm pretty sure if they were gonna do something like that, they're gonna wait a long ass time. There's gonna be a big ass drought in between this season and next season. So like that's why they're basically holding back from saying anything, and they're just because remember first season they were like, oh yeah, we got a second season coming, but now they're keeping real hush hush about it. So if they did do a season 3, we won't see that shit for another year or two, like a surprise kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
however, I like where it's at, man. Kazuya is sick. I
Yeah,
love
I
playing
mean,
Kazuya.
even though it was kind of like it wasn't really since Namco was developing Smash.
Yeah, it's definitely not out of the blue at all. And not to mention, there was already me costumes for Heihachi and
Yeah,
who was it? I think he was. I forgot who else it was that there was costumes for the Mii's.
yeah. This is probably likely going to be somebody associated with the costumes they released. But
Now, some people are saying that. Uh, I mean, Doctor Robotnik or Eggman would be kind of. It makes sense because, like, if you're talking about most of the mainline characters in Smash right now have their villain, Sonic doesn't.
yeah,
Sonic doesn't have Eggman, and that would be cool because that'd be another big character on the roster. King K. Rool versus Eggman versus
well, I could see,
King Dedede.
I could see something like that before a Mortal Kombat character.
Of course, of course. But I'm just saying, I'm thinking out of left field because we got to see Sephiroth like follow Cloud into the Smash universe. He's just like, oh yeah, you thought you could get rid of me, bitch? No, no, you can't. No, you can't.
You gonna eat these pears, pears.
And yeah, yeah. And you know what's crazy is like, I still flip out about that video because he killed he killed the big boss of Smash in one shot. Like, and Cloud and everybody else was just like, I thought we were gonna die. And then like, everybody's like, "Ooh, we're relieved. This fucker's split in half." And then they look closer and it's just this tall motherfucker.
They definitely have good presentation with those trailers because Kazuya's
Yes.
trailer was really cool
That
too.
Kazuya trailer was funny. How he was just dumping people over the
Yeah, I think YouTube King, he was talking about how like you need to take notice, like all the people he's throwing off the ledge are people that'll never get another franchise. F-Zero, gone. You'll never see another Fire Emblem, gone. Arms, gone. It's like that was pretty funny.
Oh,
Lots of characters
shit.
don't
You're
have their
right.
villain. I would love to see Geese fight Terry in Smash. I think Geese got all the love he gonna get from Tekken. Probably ain't going nowhere. Especially in Terry's trailer. He tried to get the invitation and fell off the side of the building again. I don't know, man.
When
Geese
is he
getting
not?
greedy. Love Kazuya's trailer. Yeah, it was pretty tight. But let's try to get focused back on Black Temple.
Right.
Because I guess
Good conversation though, right? That was a good segment. We can cut that up and do something with that.
yeah. How crazy.
I could always take like chunks of this podcast and post it on my end. That way we we can cover both sides. People can actually watch the segments.
By all means, help yourself. The
For
more,
sure.
the more, the better. But
If you can send me like this part of the podcast, I can like cut it up and stuff. And
yeah, just tell me which clips you want. I'll do it
That's
that
a
way,
bet.
so I don't download this 3-hour live stream to get 10 seconds of material. But as far as like tournaments and stuff, like starting out, how many do you want to try running per month? Like maybe 1 or 2 a month.
Yeah, I think we should just start with getting at least 1 to 2 tournaments out of the month and just have reoccurring people coming back to play. That's really what I want is the engagement of, more and more people like if they're coming in to play, like they'll play once and then they'll be like, oh man, this is pretty badass. Like next time you guys have a tournament, let me know.
Yeah.
And we'll see them again play in another tournament, and that shit would be pretty cool because whoever's watching will actually be able to Yeah, maybe that's their favorite player or something at some point or another, and after they view for that specific person, and that's just pretty cool to me. That's what I mean by like real natural engagement is that you start to latch on to how how entertaining this movement is. Because this is what I perceive what we're doing right now is we're creating the movement. It's it's more than just a community. Like I really want to I really want to have a shift in the FGC that kind of opens up the doors for the creative minds to really dive deep into their passions and not just be held back from doing things because people tell them they can't do that or they shouldn't do that or that's out of their lane or whatever.
Yeah, that's not acceptable in the new
Right.
terms of service or whatever the fuck Evo wants to call it. Because I think it's a good time to as well. Like a lot of things will be better off being developed by the little guy because a lot of the big stuff is falling apart. And it's like
Right.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of traffic going into smaller streams as opposed to like Evo with the whole issue that went down with Mr. Wizard and his whatever he's into and that shit, as well as the whole Dead or Alive fiasco that happened. How to go? What do they say? Core values. These
Yeah.
these don't reflect Evo's core values. Just Dead or Alive.
Core
Because
values.
Shimbori had the audacity to have very sexy, attractive women on the stage, showing the assets of the game that
That's why
many
the
would
free play
come.
version is called Core Fighters.
Yeah,
Get it now.
you got
I
the
fucking
meme.
get it.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, dude, like, I want to get to the point where we make our own fucking fighting games that aren't beholden to these whack rules and regulations by people who don't even give a shit about fighting games.
Yeah.
Not like the people who actually play them. Because a lot of
So-
these new games are just they lose all the flair and the intrigue, the love and creativity. It's all devoid
Right.
in these newer
Yeah.
games.
It's it doesn't have the same flair
Yeah.
like it used to.
Yeah. Bringing that back would be
I would
pretty good.
I would like to like maybe discuss some of the other games that I had in mind. Aside from Third Strike, of course,
Yeah, so we got
Third Strike
JoJo's
being
Third Strike.
very popular. Yeah, I know you like JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, so I chose that one because I had a great time with those matches, and I love the way Fightcade plays. That's another thing that drives me insane is the fact that Fightcade has implemented this rollback netcode so well into so many fucking games, so many old titles.
Hmm.
And it runs very smooth. Once you set up your control inputs, everything is just like it's amazing, seamless. And just like it feels like you're actually like popping a quarter in, and you press start, and here comes a new challenger. Boom, your homie is already ready up for the next match in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, so that's definitely something we can kind of use to our advantage when building tournaments
Right.
on a
So
consistent basis.
most of these games, well, actually, no, I'm lying. All these games are actually on Fightcade. So aside from Third Strike, I was thinking like SNK versus Capcom. You know, SVC Chaos.
Yeah,
That's an amazing title to play if you're looking for like the SNK versus Capcom or Capcom versus SNK. But they're two different titles, so don't get that confused.
yeah,
um, this basically plays more like SNK than Capcom,
yeah,
which is great. It takes the Capcom characters out of their element, puts them in a whole new one, and mind you, the Chaos Plus version has all the extra characters that aren't in the arcade version.
hmm
So that's something to look forward to. I like Samurai Showdown for its aesthetic. So I was thinking I would say five special being like the most robust roster, unless you're really trying to pick like four. But I think five special is probably best bet.
Yeah, so it's is that 5 games or are we at 4? Got Capcom versus SNK Chaos, JoJo's Third Strike, Samurai Showdown. 5, you said?
Yeah,
All
Samurai
right.
Showdown 5.
Yeah, so let's add one more to the list. First 5 games we'll try to launch, Black Temple tournament, so 4.
Now we could do like Super Nintendo's actually emulated now on Fightcade, so we could actually run Killer Instinct on this from Fightcade.
Yeah,
Um,
got a few
my
friends that would
only
like
thing
that.
is, yeah. Oh, we also have Marvel versus Capcom 1.
Let's try to keep
Is
it to like one versus game. Because we already got Street Fighter Third Strike and Capcom versus SNK. So, just kind of mix
I
it up.
will say though, like if we're choosing like an SNK title, then we can get rid of Samurai Showdown for now, and
Mhm.
we can put Marvel versus Capcom, or no, you said one versus game, right? At least
Yeah,
one.
yeah, just
So
one versus.
we could do Dark Stalkers, or even like you said, Killer Instinct. We can try Killer Instinct. Let's see how it works out.
Okay.
Um, if it runs right for everybody, then we can try to set up something with Killer Instinct, celebrate KI's existence, and hopefully it's fucking return at some point in the near future, because I think what they did with KI 2013, that's when it came out, right? Yeah, this one year the Xbox One came out. That was a launch title with it.
Yeah, I believe so. Launched
When it
out
came
ugly.
out, I was so dead ass excited, but yeah, it needed some improvements, and over time, my god, the game is fantastic.
Mm. Wish I'd
And
stop
so
being like a trend though. I wish a game would come out fantastic and be fantastic, so we don't have to wait after a game's released to be able to enjoy the
yeah,
damn thing.
KI felt like an early access when the Xbox came out, and it was only exclusive. Like it came exclusively with the uh some limited the elite version of the Xbox One. I think it was some shit like that.
Hmm.
And yeah, so everybody got a free copy of it then, or you had to buy that shit at $60. But even then, the game wasn't necessarily in a good place yet. The online infrastructure was still needing some work.
Yeah, I
And
heard
by
that
season
now.
two, that's when
Yeah,
rollback was.
yeah, I heard that
Oh yeah.
now. New KI plays really good online. Has really
Oh
good
yeah. PC and
echo or whatever.
Xbox crossplay.
Hmm.
That shit is madness, dude. Like Iron Galaxy.
Didn't
Was
they
it
go
Iron
between
Galaxy?
like 2 or 3 different developers throughout the
Yeah,
course of its?
it was.
Because I remember
It
Iron
was.
Galaxy having something to do with it at the beginning,
Yeah, yeah.
but I think they changed.
Fuck. Let me. You know, you're right. I forgot there was quite a few hands. I mean, exchanges being made.
Yeah, but I guess overall it turned out pretty good. But as far as our list of games, so let's say we got JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Dreamcast, Third Strike, and Capcom versus SNK Chaos. You say which one was next? Dark Stalkers. I'd like that one. Dark
Darkstalkers
Stalkers.
would be nice. We'll go with Darkstalkers 3.
Yeah,
Um,
and the last one you still decided on. Because I know if you had switched Darkstalkers for a Samurai Showdown,
right.
or if you just added. Oh yeah, Killer Instinct. I'm
Um,
assuming the 64 version.
I'm gonna go ahead and say let's put Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3.
Ah yeah, yeah. Mortal Kombat.
Have to, right?
Yeah,
It's especially that one because it runs so good.
yeah.
It runs so flawlessly.
Okay, so
So all right, so our list is UMK3, Street Fighter Third Strike, SNK versus Capcom. Which eventually, you know, we'll probably switch out SNK versus Capcom for Marvel at some
yeah.
point. You know, we'll do a rotation of games. You know,
All right, and Darkstalkers 3.
Darkstalkers 3. Yeah.
And what was the last one? We got Ultimate Mortal Kombat, JoJo's SNK, Third Strike.
Oh, what are we? We still got one left.
No, that's all of them. I just remember Third
That's
Strike.
all of them. Okay.
Yep. So Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, SNK vs. Capcom Chaos, Darkstalkers 3, Street Fighter Third Strike. Hey,
Send that list to me,
Gaseous
and
Clay.
we'll get.
He's a.
What's up?
But Gaseous Clay said his Jetta is nasty. We'll see how your Jetta fares against my Felicia.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that's my girl.
Oh, let me hit you up with Bishamon.
Oh shit.
Um.
But what did you say?
So, shit. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. Send me the list, and I will get all of the games in a folder, and I will send them to you. That way, you can share with your viewers.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And so, anybody who's viewing right now that wants to join us on our big launch of Black Temple, y'all are welcome. I don't know how many of y'all actually have PCs, good running PCs to run Fightcade, but really you can run Fightcade on a potato, to be honest with you.
Let's sort it out when time comes. You wanna aim, do our first stream next week or the week after? Give us some time to make sure everything works. We have everything.
We could do a test run.
Okay.
We'll do a test run on everything. See how smooth everything runs.
Yeah, Clay. Play fast, fast pussy. Hey man, that Felicia man. Woo boy. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Not again.
Oh shit. Not again.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll work on that. I'll work on the a banner for Black Temple so that when we start streaming it, I'll probably do some editing to this banner. So when we're doing the Black Temple, anything Black Temple related that is constantly being promoted.
Sure, man.
That'd be tight.
Sure.
Yeah, man. Trying to get the birth of Black Temple FGC online tournaments. Hopefully, making our way to the offline.
Mind you, everybody who's watching, this idea of mine, this whole Black Temple thing came about like when I first started my YouTube channel in 2018. That's when I had stopped using my old PlayStation account. I made a brand new one. I was kind of feeling, a little bit of a renewal, right? So I ended up making a YouTube channel, and I just started putting clips together and whatever. And a few months into that whole adventure, that's when I decided, man, like having a group of friends to actually play fighting games with just sounds like therapy to me. Something I've actually been needing for a while, and
Yeah.
it's taken its sweet time to get here. But I think 3 years later, especially after meeting Josh in 2019 when Mortal Kombat 11 came out, we had a lot to talk about then. Definitely have a lot to talk about now. So
Yeah.
it's crazy to see that shit come full circle 3 years later.
Yeah, man. What is that? Now is the time. It's time.
Oh yeah, man. Yes.
I
Sure,
can't
man.
wait to get this started because shit's boring. So change it.
We ready, man.
Yeah.
We ready for the big time.
Yeah. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the stream here. It's almost 10 o'clock. Everybody, I appreciate you for stopping in on this very awesome and successful stream. We talked about a lot of things today that'll make for good video content for next week. So, good shit. Thank you all for joining. I think I'm gonna go ahead and change that. There we go. Thank you all for joining. This is episode 1 of the Immortal Afro Gaming podcast. I might try to have one of these, every other week or so to pull some information off of for, the good, bad, and ugly. What was that?
We could always have an FGC segment at the end of the stream.
FGC segment? You talking about after the tournament or?
No, like when you do your podcast or whatever like that, I'll hop in.
Depends on how long the podcast is going, because I'm tired as fuck now.
Oh yeah, it depends on the topic, right? But like,
yeah,
you let me know. We'll plan in advance. Do some like updates on things going forward. with us and within fighting games as they unfold. You know,
Yeah,
more
that's
to
what,
talk about when KOF starts getting closer to release. You know?
oh yeah, KOF 15. That's looking pretty good.
Yes, sir. So
Uh,
we'll catch up with that shit when the time comes.
yeah. But in the meantime, thank you for coming on, Cross. Thank you for coming on, Kuroki.
Yeah, no problem,
It's
bro.
been an honor and a privilege. But everyone at home, I am your Immortal Afro Josh. You are watching Immortal Afro Gaming. And I'll see you on the next upload. Peace.
And I'll see y'all too.
Oh, and thank you, Kuroki and Cross. I'm tired, man. I'm sorry. Kuroki Samurai, thank you for joining. Cross, thank you for joining. And again, I'll see you guys. Check them out on their YouTube. Kuroki Samurai, Cross. He does art, pics of his stuff. But next time when I'm more prepared, I'll give you a proper shout out, Cross. I'm sorry. But in the meantime, I'll see you guys on the next upload. Peace. Oh, and tomorrow's going to be a stream as well. I'm going to be streaming some Phantom Dust. So look forward to that shit. Later.
Hell yeah.